Make a small edit to Tychus' backstory. His eyes go blank for a moment as the world edits his memories.
I can get up to a +8 on diplomacy checks against people who would be sexually attracted to a Dampiric twink.
Yes. I can get a bonus if I'm using it to gather information, but for no other purposes.
I just have a +7.
Yes.
Period.
And
that's because charisma.
And I have a +9. Hooray!
Huzzah.
Yeah,
And
you're a charisma-based caster, so I can definitely see why you have it.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here with a +14 on knowledge and ability.
Yeah. I think my highest thing's my sense motive at +8.
My best skill is actually Slay of Hand.
That's good that we have someone who can do that.
I'm not entirely sure how often it will be used, but I have it, so.
I should probably pick up a familiar at some point, because familiars are just handy.
They are. Get this map a little bigger here.
Aren't you a wizard? Oh, you're something else. What? Wait.
Exploiter wizard. Exploiter wizard, so I need to use an exploit to get a familiar later on.
Familiars are cool.
Let's see. So,
So
might get a sage familiar and have it invest a bunch of points into disable device and that sort of thing.
Classic. I do like me the sage archetype. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Let's get this whole game thing going. So we're going to talk about something that we didn't do last session, which will immediately become apparent once I actually start talking about it as to why we didn't. But I'm practicing for my role play in the near future because well, there's a lot of people that aren't going to give you the answer to the question you asked. They're going to scoot around it as much as they can before/if they actually do ever give you any information you're actually looking for. I think as of right now, I'm doing all right at that.
Yeah.
Last session, we didn't have to do this, but I'm going to ask everyone here to roll a d20 real quick. Just a straight up d20 in the bottom left. And whoever gets the highest roll is going to do the recap for the last session. If you do a good enough recap, a recap that I am happy with, though I do quite often ask everyone else if they're happy with it, then I'll let you use a free reroll of a dice roll you make at some point throughout the session. You do have to announce that you want to use the reroll before the outcome of the situation has been revealed. The exceptions to that are ones we can't avoid, being damage or attack rolls. So this can be for any die roll. It doesn't specifically have to be for d20. Though, as a note, I don't like people building these up, so what I do is I say, you have to use it this session. If you don't use your reroll this session, it's gone. So, Owen, if you'd like, I'm going to give you the floor. I will let you know, though, I know we did have a 1 week break. There's stuff going on in my personal life. So I'm not going to be as hard as I normally would. And to be fair, since you guys are new to this, I normally am just generally a little bit more lenient with people that haven't done this before. So you have the floor, Owen.
So we started out meeting up with Martilla Lothide, who is a supporter of the Princess. Sorry, I'm reading through my notes. I don't have her name written down. The current princess of Princess Eutropia, who's the only current living child of Grand Prince Stavian III.
Good memory. or notes. Either way, congratulations.
The Grand Prince Davian's getting on up in years, so there's a concern about the line of succession because current Taldan law is that only males can inherit. So there's a meeting at the Senate to vote on a new succession law. We're attending the party with invitations secured for us by Martella. We made it into the party after about a 2-hour waiting period in line, where we were able to mingle a little bit, kind of get the lay of the land, and then Princess Eutropia appeared in the garden, gave a speech about her vision for the future of Taldor, and there was almost an incident with some bees. Oh, and the party's also to honor. They're also honoring a commoner who's being elevated to the nobility.
Calbio from Breezy Creek.
Yeah.
How do you spell that name?
Calbao.
It's Io, but I don't know. Calling him Calbio doesn't seem right. Does that seem right to you guys? Calbio? I guess it could work.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going for on the like linguistic origin of that, so Calbio works.
Calbio.
And he was elevated for his awesome art skills with tapestry.
Yes.
Yes.
He also really just wants a friend.
I mean, who
Country
doesn't
boy
want-
lost with all these rich people he's never known about.
We don't know that. that's you
I mean-
speculating. None of that is something that we actually were told by anybody. So,
Didn't they say he's from the country?
oh, they didn't say any of that.
Well, I think Breezy Creek sounds like a country town name, but
Yeah, I said he's a commoner
Yeah.
from out of town that's been brought here for this, but that's all I've said about him.
Yeah, he could be.
Okay.
Well, no, I did bring up that there was a lot of effort on his family's part to get him the training for that he grew up on like a farm.
okay.
Are you going to give him like a thick Southern accent or something?
I think we have to see when we run into him.
You'll find out. Or you won't. I don't know. It depends on your actions. You probably will. Who knows though? Maybe you get thrown out of the party before you meet him.
Always a possibility.
Oh, I know this might be a little bit of a damper, but I did want to let you guys know I did try to reach out to Deucin today. And he did not reach out back to me before the session started, so I couldn't get him in here. He wouldn't have got your ping that you sent out for him earlier because I removed his permission for that role. Actually, might have
Seems to
just
have left the server.
Oh, and he might have left. I to be honest, I might have kicked him. That is kind of habit if you're only in one game and you leave. I don't keep people in the server if they're not playing in a game. But like, I mean, he's on my friends list. I've known him for a while. I knew him before this game, so.
Should I fish around for a replacement, or are we good?
I'll keep looking around. If you think you have someone, that's okay, but I'll let you know in advance, and I'm just gonna say this real quickly, and then we can move on because I don't want to waste everyone's time. People that come in as groups or people that are in multiple games, those are the two most common examples I have of people that represent a higher risk to my business than just the average person. So I do have them put down payments down. So if you did bring someone in, there would be effectively a retainer fee for the campaign that I require from both of you guys.
Okay.
I mean, appreciated, but it does, represent a potential problem, and I do hold on to those fees in case people back out, so I can continue to run the games even if I have high risk individuals leave.
Okay.
I feel like that recap is good. I would throw something out. I would have liked a little bit more information about the goings on when it comes to the conversation that you had with Lady Lothied. I think a little bit more detail there would have been important because there was quite a bit that happened there. And I think it would also be very important to specify some of the interactions that happened when it comes to the potential disaster that got averted at the end of the session, both because it was right at the end of the session and because it's relatively important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it was a pretty good recap. How's everyone else feel about it?
Seems fine to me.
Covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, it seems good.
Sure. You heard it there. You gotta reroll for the session. Use it before you lose it.
Hooray!
Recall correctly too, there was like after Owen went and not Owen, sorry, after Ventus went and confronted the person, you noted that because Ventus had not appeared to pay enough attention to the princess, there are repercussions for that.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
-2 on social checks for the next social round, I think.
yeah, you're gonna take a -2 penalty, and it's not social checks, it's influence checks specifically. For the next 2 social rounds. Because people are realizing that you're like departing from the speech while it's in progress.
But we did manage to stop whatever was going to happen, even if it was in part by dumb luck, because Owen just walked over, because Ventus just sort of walked over, was like, "Hey, what you doing?" The guy gave an explanation. He just walked away.
It's like, all right, sounds legit. Bye.
Well, yeah. What else was I supposed to do? Be like, I don't believe you.
No, it was entirely appropriate. Just funny as hell.
What
Yeah,
does the
that's
bar
all we were
mean?
saying, confusing.
Well,
I don't believe you. Let me get out my searchlight so I can shine it in your eyes and start inquisiting you right here in the middle of this crowd.
you see scenes like that in movies quite often where they have the light shining, and like I've done plays before, and I know when you have that light on you that sometimes it can be really bad depending on the light. I have to imagine it's worse in movies. Like, could you imagine being a performer and having to do a scene like that and having to do multiple takes? That sounds like it would suck.
Yeah, I have somebody shine a spotlight in your eyes. It sounds awful.
Well, you get the benefit of not having to see the audience for 5
Like a
minutes or
live
whatever.
thing, yeah.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. So, we kind of left it at the end of this big event because I thought it was a really good place. But at this point, you see that a lot of the crowd is beginning to mingle, beginning to spread out. There is some people that are socializing with the princess, and do you guys remember the other lady that was with her here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lady Marilla?
Lady Gloriana Marilla.
Yeah, I had Marilla or Gloriana.
I will quite often, when I'm just referring to them between us, I will quite often just use any titles and then a last name for, more prominent people like this. But if they are being announced, then I will use whatever is appropriate for the character, quite often that being the full title. Even though some of these names...
What's her title?
I think...
she's a lady.
Go ahead.
Okay, just lady.
Yeah, I think in noble circles it's generally considered a faux pas to refer to someone by the first name unless you're very familiar with them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna go up
Yeah.
to Lady Gloriana Marilla and be like, "Hello there, Gloriana," or Lady Gloriana.
Oh, glory.
Hey, Glows, how's it hanging?
Yeah, you'd probably be thrown out if you walked up to someone like that.
Tact. That's what we're looking for. Lots of tact.
Yeah, think of how Japanese people talk to each other, where it's always by honorifics and surnames,
Oh,
unless they're like family or friends.
that takes it a step farther, though.
Not like that.
Yeah, don't call her Marilla Chan. I'm pretty sure she'd be like, "Who the fuck is this weeb in my face?"
I'm pretty
I-
sure that's not how anybody talks in this setting. So
Yeah, in
Well-
Galorian they don't even use what are they? Is it phonetics? Is that the right term?
It's honorifics.
know.
Honorifics.
Not just known about Minkai, which is Galarian Japan. Beyond that it exists.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
standard etiquette, in at least in Britain, and I think in France as well, is if a formal introduction will do their full title, or if they're like a knight or a baronet, then you just say Sir, their full name, or Dame, their full name, and then after that you can refer to them as just my lord, your lordship, my lady, your ladyship.
Well, at this point, all of you have some time to go. I'm not going to tell you how much time, but you have some time to go mingle around in whatever crowds and either influence some rooms or talk with some people if you'd like to.
So,
Or whatever the next event is.
While we're all here in the garden, I will mention that one of the senators that I need to speak with is up in the gallery where all of the children are being penned. Penned is probably not the right word, but let's go with that. Does any of you have any skills that might be useful in that sort of environment? I'm not entirely sure I have the abilities for that myself.
To deal with children?
Yes.
Pulls out a paddle.
Let's see, I've got siblings, so
Just sneak up a bottle of wine, they'll be fine.
Does that
I'm
how
not
that
su-
works? I see.
I'm not sure that you're going to need to deal with children so much as they're just going to be having a performance up there. I just imagine you go up and you can talk to the person you need to talk to.
Suppose you're right. It's not quite my environment, but
After
will-
all, they do have they've hired quite the performer for the children.
yes, that
So I don't think they want.
Rowley something.
I don't think that she would probably be too pleased if you were to intrude on her livelihood and steal her thunder, so to speak.
Fair enough. Oh, I suppose I'll stop stalling then.
So if you do find out that particular person's position, and it is in opposition to ours, please do let me know.
I will go to the Senate room and to partake in those mock debates. Just flex my intelligence score over them.
Veselka.
So,
So I actually looked up the pronunciation of the performer's name, and it's
Oh, yeah?
Vasilka. It's Polish.
Oh, it just spelled weird. Okay.
And yeah, it's spelled Yessilka, but it's pronounced Vasilka.
Okay, so
yeah,
Damn
good old
Poles.
Polish names. Yeah, but that's what Othello would have said to
the Vasilka the Fantabulous, yes.
that's what Othello would have been saying to Tychus would have been that she asked for him to if the person he's investigating does turn out to be in opposition to us, to let her know.
And I think the rotunda is the place where they have the mock debate. And the big circle thing to the west.
Yeah, that's the Senate floor. That's the appropriate title for it.
That's how you move the map. There you go.
Okay, I see one of us is going to the Senate floor. Just throw yourself in the center there for convenience sake. Just for ease of spotting.
I
Heading
was
up the
okay. So
gallery
did did Damien? Sorry, did Tychus agree that he would, or because?
Yes, I'm sorry if you didn't hear me. He said yes, he'll
Okay.
make sure to keep you in the loop.
I hear there's some riveting debate over in the rotunda, so I will be partaking in it myself to see who's who there. So I'll be off for a bit. Yeah, Davin says as he offers a genuflection and then heads off.
Isn't? Oh no, that's prostration. Never. I was
Yes.
gonna say I don't think you. I don't think you're doing that kind of bowing.
No,
You drop down to the ground.
No, genuflection's when you just like dip your head down and you do like a little
You do
hand
the little
gesture.
thing with your hand, yeah.
Okay.
This is kind of weird, or at least it might be. I think it's kind of weird. I didn't know what a genuflect was until I heard it in a rap song.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they were based, I don't remember the exact lyrics, but it was basically something like get down on one knee and genuflect to me, something like that. Basically like bow before my presence.
Someone's getting
And,
fancy.
and I think curtsy is when you like step forward, bow, and then like lift your skirt slightly.
Yes.
The skirt
Well,
doesn't
you-
have to be involved.
You don't bow because it's for women who are wearing like corsets. You lower your body
Yeah, it's a
while
dip.
maintaining your upper body straight. So your upper body remains straight, but you lower your whole body towards the ground.
I actually use
So-
curtsies a lot as like a means of people when they're introducing or when they're leaving.
Okay. So do we need? Okay. So we need to figure out where we're all going.
Yeah.
Where-
Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone sucks in the courtyard.
I was not
Yeah.
planning to stay in the courtyard. Othello was
Yeah.
only in the court. Othello was only in the courtyard because the princess was giving a speech in the courtyard.
Though you could
Yeah.
stay there. Remember, you guys can interact with the NPCs there if you'd like.
It's true.
Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to draw something.
You can right click it, and then a little wheel should pop up, and you can go to pointers and remove pointers.
I'm just rechecking my notes of what the things are.
That's fair.
I know we did get some influence in the front hall because I got a.
Did I
decent
make
roll
that
for
note public? I think I did. Yes. In the Arcade of Triumphs, you guys have 9, and in the Imperial Archives, you have 3.
If we have okay.
And I think I even told you the thresholds. Is that true?
I don't remember you
think
telling us the threshold.
Okay.
I think you remember. I remember you telling us that we almost hit like the full one on the front room, but
You almost hit a
Not the
threshold.
exact
The
Yeah, I
numbers.
think I told you guys there's multiple thresholds in rooms, and that you almost hit the first one in the first room in the Arcade of Triumphs. Though I got the impression based on some statements I made that I might have done a character dirty when I elaborated on what they were doing in there, which I apologize for.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Where is Bella going?
That's what I was. Okay. Okay. I think Athela is going to. I think she might very well join I guess in going upstairs.
Okay, you guys are gonna go up to the gallery. Why don't we just for the sake of some variety, why don't we have everyone roll initiative and then we'll use that to determine what order we do all this in. With priority going to people in groups, so if Tychus or Othello roll higher, we'll do those two together.
Get
Okay.
all those ones out now.
Cool. Yeah, if you're gonna roll a 1, initiative for social rounds could be a very good way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
One of the more optimal. To be honest, if I'm gonna roll a 1, like, initiative's a pretty good place to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I'm also the kind of person that when I am a player, which is very rarely, I do like going last because then I can kind of react to what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So we-
Depends on party roll a bit.
I mean, going first or last really, whether that's good or it's good to go first or last, really depends on your character build and what your character does.
That's fair.
Othello going first is very good for her.
So I think we'll start with Athella, and then we'll move to Tychus because he's in the same area, and then we'll go Ventus and Davlik.
I just meant generally. I'm not sure her going first in social is particularly great one way or another. Just like in combat, she tends to want to go first because her AC is garbage until she moves.
So I'll give you a little bit. It has been a week, so I will give you a little bit of a description of the room we're in. Just go over it again. You've gone up a set of stairs. That's above the Senate floor. It leads you to the second floor that overlooks it, so that more less important people can actually view a Senate meeting for the few times a year when that's appropriate, including today. And currently, you'll see that there are primarily a bunch of youngins, a lot of youths, no juvenile delinquents though, at least as far as you can tell, that are being entertained by that halfling woman that I brought up earlier, that Vasilka, the Fantabulous. I'll actually give you an image of her.
Okay, it's a clown.
Hey, it's a harlequin. It's the fancy version of a clown.
It's a halfling harlequin clown.
Maybe she just looks like that naturally. Maybe she's really tired and sick.
Then would you
And
really
she
want her
probably
taking care
shouldn't
of
be
your
around all
children?
these children. But
Maybe she's tired and sick because of the children.
that's more accurate. Little freaking disease balls.
I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be a clown / Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I'm positive. She has this, as you can see, it's this very standout attire that has this red, black, and white pattern to it. And actually, this is actually a common impression that you'll see among, like her routine. I don't know if you've seen her before. She is a, maybe not her specifically, but people in her profession. It's one of the more common animals that gets, quote unquote, recreated. I don't think anyone here's noticed it. Otherwise, they would comment on it. But she's trying to imitate a raccoon with her painting.
Oh. They like so Taldor likes raccoons.
There's a lot of there's a lot of, I don't know if weird's the right word, a lot of unexpected animals like that you would see depicted in like unique ways in this country, and a raccoon as a source of entertainment is one of those examples.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, exotic animals have always kind of been a mark of
Yeah.
Cool.
wealth, at least.
And
That makes sense.
though you might look at her like outfit and maybe look at this as a little dreary, You, even though you've only been in this room for like a moment and she's the obvious crowd pleaser here, you can see that she's covered in enthusiasm. She's smiling, and you actually see like this emasculate set of white teeth that she brandishes. And she seems pretty proud of. There aren't that many other adults up here. There are maybe a few gentlemen off on the far side, opposite of the ladder, that seem to be drinking some kind of lightly colored drinks, most likely some form of champagne or wine. That seem to be talking amongst each other. There are two people up here that you do notice, though, and probably the second person you notice after you see Vasilka is I don't know if employer is the right term. It's probably the right term. Lady Lothied is up here. Remember, she said she would be up here, and this is where you would come to find her if you had any problems.
Yes.
And she is watching you when you come up the stairs.
I very carefully just let my eyes glide right off of her like she's no one I know.
Good. She will
Similar.
She will treat both of you with the proper respect. She will acknowledge you from a distance, but she won't close the gap. If you're not coming to her, and she hasn't heard anything up to this point, then she has no reason to speak to you. Because as far as everyone here is concerned, you guys have nothing to do with her.
Right.
And as she said, and you can probably tell this, I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually somewhere around Vasilka the Fantabulous, probably watching her performance, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's actually kind of watching that as she pays attention to the crowd down below on the first floor, down on the Senate floor that's like this dent in the ground. There is another person up here. There's a countess that I think I talked to you guys about. Countess
Pace.
Abriel Pace.
Yep.
Who's one of the members of the Senate and known for being very cutthroat.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey,
That is the one I'm looking for.
people remembering things. Nice.
Othello came along in part to help out, and in part because it'll make it easy for Icus to inform her if this person is in fact someone she should be using as her mark as well.
She I don't think I gave you a description of her though. She is like
Yeah, you just gave me
ridiculously
names.
gauche, even for like a noble woman. Like if you look at her clothing and her fine jewelry, she has this set that separates her. She is intentionally, and you can tell it, she's intentionally standing out from the other Taldan members around here. She has this unusual smile that rests on her face. And she's a little bit on the short side, even for a woman, but she has this very well-kept brown hair that's locked in this very stylized bun. I have an image for you guys. This is a very un-Taldan look.
Okay, we're going full updo here.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was
Alright.
stylized.
Yep.
It's a very someone who normally dresses like a librarian but had to dress up for the ball look.
Potentially. Does look a little like that.
It's the pince nez. I can't get past them.
A note: Athela is also not is not big at all. she is quite small. Doesn't weigh very much either.
If you guys do end up deciding to influence specific people, I would allow you to potentially get some information about them. It's not the same as stuff that will help you with the influence, but some information that could be helpful nonetheless, using knowledge, nobility, or local, with nobility being the easier of the two.
Okay. Would that be in place of an influence check for the room, or in addition to?
It would be in addition to, which is why I said it's different than the information you get that would help you with the influence.
Okay.
It's not the same as the action you would use in a social round, though it needs to be dedicated to a person you are going to socialize with this round.
Alright,
Ah,
so
So, like, if you were to say you wanted to socialize with her, you could make a check to know something about her that might help you in the conversation.
No, that's exactly what I'm trying to say isn't the case, because normally you can do that in place of influencing someone. You can get some information to help you influence them better. This would just be more getting a general understanding of them, as opposed to getting some kind of niche piece of information that will help you in the conversation.
okay. So
More-
you said
More general
Sorry.
information as opposed to a tool.
okay. So this is to get our baseline before we actually start doing influence rolls.
Yes.
So what would the role be to determine what things can be done in this room in general?
So with pretty much all the rooms, I will tell you if there is some
Okay.
kind of exception, which it might be event or room based. I'm not gonna tell you which or any more information about that until it happens. It's pretty much you can influence the room, you can influence an NPC, or you can discover information about the NPC to help you influence them. Those are
Okay.
your three options, generally speaking. I will let you know if there are other ones. Though, do feel free to ask me if there's something else. I'm totally, if I think there's something that makes sense within within the game, I'm willing to work around with that. But these are the things the game is expecting from you, and would be the most convenient if that's what we focused on.
Okay.
Okay.
So nobility or history for this first roll, right? Or general knowledge
What are you
or
doing?
local. I
For
thought
who?
you- For the countess to get a gist on her.
Yeah, feel
Like-
free to give me that.
Okay. You said nobility was the lower DC one.
Yes, because these are pretty much all nobles, and your knowledge of the nobles themselves is going to be the easier one. I'm okay with
So
telling you
if-
guys that one because it's like kind of obvious.
Yeah. So let's hope I fixed my knowledge skills right. Nope, because I rolled a 1. So
Well,
That does kind of make sense though. If you think she is from the far west, she's not really within a lot of the local circles that you would be familiar with.
yeah, so
She's not
anyone
normal
I've
for
had
this
to
environment.
Look into or investigate before. I'm just sort of mingling and pondering, trying to pull up facts that aren't there. If Ella, you want to give a go?
Well,
I
you-
wasn't sure.
If you're going to influence or learn something about her, this would be the time to do it because you just did the knowledge and nobility for it.
Okay.
And I got something to pull up for you. I think I do. Nope, that's a map, Jacob.
I also realized that I forgot one of Ithella's skills. She actually has one skill that is +9. So she does have a skill better than Sleight of Hand. She's really good at acrobatics.
So to figure out what an appropriate influence skill is, you need to get a sense motive or knowledge nobility check. And then there's some specific ones for
So I guess I will sort of mingle around the room, trying to get a feel for what I should be doing here with a sense motive.
yeah, you could do, yeah, what did I say? It was sense motive
Or
or
knowledge nobility.
yes, either one of those.
Okay, no more ones. We don't need a repeat of last time.
And this isn't taking up your action. This is just giving you a better idea if you hit the appropriate DC.
Okay. So 15 for the sense motive.
Okay, so to influence Countess Pace, you will need a knowledge nobility, or sense motive. Though you could use appraise, diplomacy, or intimidate. And with that roll, I can also give you the DC. It wants me to. Oh, I did this wrong. I apologize for this, Damien. I was supposed to give you a
sorry.
choice. But it's not going to happen this time because I already revealed that information. I'm supposed to either give you the influence target. I'm supposed to give you the DC, which I guess I haven't at this point, so that's not a crazy spoiler.
Okay.
So I guess I would let you choose. So I can either give you the target DC for the influence checks because I would have had to tell you the skills anyways. That makes sense. Or I can tell you a weakness that will give you a bonus on future influence checks.
Are you trying to influence her, or are you trying to find out information from her, or are they both the same?
I think they're both the same action. Is that right? Like,
Yes, the weakness is something you can use to your advantage to help you influence her. The alternative is I give you the DCs for the influence checks against her.
let's go with the
Alright, but
weaknesses because knowing the actual numbers doesn't help me that much. So if
Okay.
I either can hit them or I can not. So
I can give you the weakness if the weakness would involve you giving me a bluff or a stealth check. And you can share this information with others. You'll get a +4 bonus if you can succeed at a bluff or stealth check.
all right, I'll take a go at a bluff then. I guess this is like mingling and trying to get involve yourself in a conversation and
Okay. This is the part where it would take your action though. If you go with trying to use this weakness, this would be your action for this social round.
all right. Is it possible if I share the information with Athela, can she use the bonus as well?
Yes, this is information anyone can use as long as they succeed the checks.
Okay, so yes, I will do a bluff to try and get the weakness, and then give that information to Athela to hopefully help her.
Stealth is also an option too, just so everyone knows. Though obviously,
I'm just better at bluff.
yeah, I think Tychus is
So-
only telling at this point Athalia, which makes sense.
Can I just ask a question, Jacob? Because I'm a little confused about how something works.
Yeah.
So you said there's influencing people.
Yes.
There's also influencing the room, and then there's finding out information about people.
Yeah.
Are they all separate, or?
So the two that are going to take the three things that are going to take your action are exploiting a weakness, which will give you further bonuses on influence checks for that specific person. The second thing that will give you will take up an action is influencing a specific person, and then the third thing that would take up an action is influencing a room.
Okay.
But
And-
he was only able to interact with this weakness because his sense motive, or he could have done knowledge nobility check, was high enough. And in the case of this character, those two checks also ended up being the two that are most prominent for influence checks. Just a coincidence.
Okay. And if you want to get a specific piece of information from somebody, you make an influence check to obtain that information from them, essentially?
No. The general information that Tychus rolled at the beginning, is that what you're talking about? You can't just straight up get information from someone. If you influence them enough, there are different effects, and one of them could potentially be information. If you successfully influence. Though I will let you know, all of you know, that there are different amounts of successful influences needed for different NPCs. generally speaking, the more important they are, the more influences you'll need to succeed.
Okay,
So
I
if you're
was- okay, I'm just
if you're
trying
going to
figure out-
influence an NPC, you should expect to spend some time focusing on that to get the full
The way I
benefits.
see it, the free action is your first knowledge and ability, or a local check, and that can presumably give you some basic information to start on.
Yeah.
The sense motive is to determine either a weakness or to reveal the DCs, and then the actual influence roll uses your action, which in
Yes.
this case is bluff or stealth.
Well, this isn't the influence. You're doing the weakness. You have two options when interacting with an
Yes.
NPC, which is the weakness or the influence. But both of those would consume because it is under the influencing NPC umbrella.
All right, so let's try this bluff.
Throw it out there.
Don't fuck me. Oh shit.
Nice.
It did
Okay.
fuck you.
So, I will let you know that all of your future influence checks on Countess Pace will have a +4 to them.
Okay.
And I'll give you a little bit of information about what you've discovered about her, because what it's actually called is a discovery. This is a discovery, is what you're doing right now, and hers is a weakness.
Okay.
Silently trailing Abriel or engaging her in duplicitous conversations uncovers her obvious willingness. So you're probably talking with her.
Yes.
Her obvious willingness to quickly shift her political stance depending on who she's engaged with. So based on that, I would actually be interested on knowing who you're talking about when it comes to your political leanings.
I suppose since I'm bluffing, I would probably try to indicate a little bit of support for what's that guy's name? The
The Grand Prince.
I was gonna say the guy in the entryway, the one who's like all imperialist. Like
Oh,
who's
the High
basically against
Strategos?
her. Yeah, since I rolled a really high bluff check, I figure I'll like indicate that I'm kinda leaning that way.
Yeah. High
not sure
Strategos
that all this-
Maxillar Pytherius.
Not sure that all of this new and untested changes going on.
I actually believe his he doesn't really, he would actually be a really bad choice because he actually really hates politics and does his best to stay out of them.
Okay, okay, never mind. Basically, I want to kind of indicate that my leanings are the opposite of the way they are. I thought he was the like figurehead for that. So,
Okay, so you are in support of the
Of
big
voting
change we're doing
against.
here with the princess, and you're
Yes.
pretending to be opposed to that. So you're against the abolishment of this law that's trying to be passed today.
Yes, I'm just
Okay.
trying to like get a feel for where she's going with this.
Yeah, at first there might be some kind of inclinations that she supports it, but she like quickly changes that once she realizes that's not the way that you lean.
Yes.
And if you had the discovery mission, this would be enough for you to complete it.
Oh, really? Okay. So I get the feeling that her actual inclination is the one I'm pretending to have.
Yeah, she like realistically, publicly she supports the princess, but
she
she's
flipped a
willing
little too
to,
quick.
yeah. And another thing you would notice while talking with her is that initially she didn't have much care for you. And I don't know what the conduit is, and that's up to you. But she definitely initially viewed you as someone beneath her status and not worth her time. But you
Fair.
did something, and I'd like to know what that is to quickly make her shift that belief.
Um, I guess given Tychus's character and like inclinations, he'd probably use his like very thorough classical education as a conduit for that to like really show how in support he is of the traditions of Taldor and how against changing them he is.
I think that's an elegant solution there. I like it. Hey, look at that. You have achieved your mission on your first social round where you could influence an NPC.
Congratulations, man.
One down, one to go.
Yeah,
So once I am able to politely leave the conversation, I will sort of wander back around towards wherever Athel at, and
I will make a note that we do have quite a bit of time that this is representing, so I would wait until we get to that point.
okay, let her do her thing first. Sorry.
And I would
Yeah.
say if you are going to stick around, you haven't influenced her. She has not been successfully influenced. You just have her weakness. So if you are going to try and get whatever that benefit is, you probably want to stick around.
So I want to stick around for another round to try and schmooze a little more.
And like I
Alright.
said, the more important they are,
The better the benefit.
the more successes, the more times you'll need to influence successfully for it to actually happen. But yes, the benefit will also be better.
Alright, well, since I took care of my mission and, well, my first half in the turn, I'll probably spend another round up here seeing if I can butter this lady up a little bit more. But
Oh, I'm guessing you probably could once Athela's done her action. At least we let her know. You know,
yes,
like
once your action's done, I'll give you the weaknesses, and I presume you'll get the bonuses then.
You can actually, if she is going to interact with the same person, I would let you give them to her this round. You could let her know the weakness.
Okay, so yes, in that case, I will do that.
Is that what you're going to be doing this round, Athalia? I said Athalia. Athela.
yeah, Athela.
I'm just trying to make it fancy, super fancy.
It's already kind of fancy, and you're like make it even more fancy. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what I was gonna have. What Athela was going to do up here this round. I wasn't sure what it'd be for just influencing the room either. But I guess actually no. She probably would interact with the Countess as well, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Then, Tychus, if you'd like to, you can provide the weakness.
Okay, so yes, I will give the information that he's a bit of a weather vane and tends to lean whatever way the person talking to her is speaking.
And realistically, what this probably represents, and maybe what I'll do in the future, is if there's multiple people in the same room, we'll decide in advance if you guys are going to do the same things. Because realistically, you guys are spending the time with, like, the three of you talking.
Yes.
Right.
And you would just, at some point in the conversation,
Yeah.
find
so,
some
like,
way to pass this information off to, like, in a polite way.
Yeah, it's kind of what I feel like. The ebb and flow of conversation, I get a moment to give her the heads up.
Okay.
You guys are, like, next to the
So-
balcony, and he, like, points over as Countess Pace is talking, and he, like, mutters under his breath, pretending to speak about something down on the Senate floor as he lets you know that her political leanings can be fluid.
All right. Should Othello roll a knowledge, nobility, or sense motive herself?
Yeah, if
She
you
would
want,
know.
if you want a little bit more information about her, that would be great. That is just free. You
Okay.
can do that anytime you interact with a person, and you can do it even if
Okay.
you failed in the past. Though if you've succeeded in the past, it won't provide anything new.
Okay. Well, I'll have Othello do her knowledge, nobility.
Okay, nice. I can give you some with that. I'm gonna give you a little bit more insight into some information that Tychus has ended up getting because of his really good bluff roll. And this represents there's a difference in the way you guys would find this information out. This is something that he learned throughout the conversation and passed on to you, but you have a slightly different insight into just knowledge you have about her from outside sources or from the past.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's actually a pretty firm ally of Princess Entropia. And she definitely wants to end this. But she's a bit of a sycophant when it comes to her political power trails. Imagine a wolf chasing their prey. She's hungry, and she's willing to ally herself with anyone that can offer her advantage. Very likely to, you've probably heard of cases where she's betrayed previous allies if she thinks things are turning against her.
Okay.
Which I imagine wouldn't be that surprising to you purely based on where she's from. That's totally the kind of thing someone from the West would do.
Yeah.
That might be a
Okay.
little bit of a stereotype, but that's the kind of game we're playing right now.
Yeah. So just when you say the West, you mean like the west part of Taldor? Or...
Yes.
The bit that's near Cheliax.
Oh, okay. That's closer to Cheliax and Andoran and all the rebellious.
The wilder
Colonies.
part of Taldor.
Yeah.
Makes-
The part that's closer to the colonies that are currently in rebellion.
I wouldn't be surprised if, and this is 100% up to you guys, but there are a lot of people that look at a lot of the Taldoran nobles from the West as a reason, as like either the reason or a scapegoat when it comes to a lot of the problems over there. Like, you have the regional control. Why haven't you done anything about it? Even though quite often you could, like, literally just look at some facts and be like, this is why they haven't done anything about it.
Yes.
Yeah, given Athella's family is from the area generally surrounding Opara, that's where their family holdings were and stuff, and she literally is from the city. Yeah, I think she might very well have that kind of opinion.
Yeah. Tychus might have some bias in that direction as well.
I expect plenty of biases from literally all of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, but that is good to know. And from what Tychus had said,
But that
She
should
also
just
seems-
confirm that statement.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep, and okay, so I know that that she has positioned herself as and portrayed herself as a firm ally of the princess.
100%.
But we also know that she flip-flops a lot.
Yeah, if something goes wrong with the princess, if this doesn't go her way and Princess Eutropia ends up not being a useful ally, she'll flip.
Right. Okay. So Jacob, I have so I'm asking this out of character because I'm not sure.
Yeah?
I'm guessing that she does not count as a major opponent to the repeal of primogeniture, given she is currently an ally of the princess, even if she is a flip-flopper.
Let me pull something up for you. Which one? Which was it? Was it aid that you had? No, you had.
She has
Was
to
it-
create a scandal.
Do you remember which mission title it was? Sorry, there's a bunch of them.
Ah, shoot. I don't know what the title was. You just gave me the text.
That's fair. What was your campaign trait?
Campaign trait is the disgraced noble.
Okay. Yeah, she's not a major opponent. No, she doesn't count
Okay.
as one.
Okay. I was just checking. Good to know. Right. So what Athela has done so far is she's gained some general information. She basically consulted her memories for what she knew about this person already and knew something. And Tychus gave her a bit of information, and so now she would attempt to influence her.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you attempt the influence on her? Oh wait, aren't I supposed to ask a question? Like
What?
I get told DCs or something? Or is that something different?
No, you can. The only option that would be available to you would be, since we already have the weakness bonus, the only option, or the only discovery, because I'm pretty sure everyone only has one discovery, though if it comes up and that's not the truth, I'll let you guys know later. The only option you would have, and you can do this for free, is you would be able to find out the DCs if you got a high enough sense motive or knowledge nobility.
Okay. Well, then I'll have her roll another knowledge nobility to find out the DCs.
Okay.
I'm sorry it's taking a little while. I'm just figuring out how it works.
No, we're all learning a new system, dude. That's just how it's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Knowledge nobility.
Ooh, that went on a little journey there.
That did go on a journey. That die, it bounced around a lot.
Okay.
Did you add your +4 from the weakness?
No,
I
this
don't think
is an
that's
influence
just
check.
The influence.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
this
this
is
is-
just the knowing things check essentially.
Okay.
The DC for all of them, for this specific character, is a flat 15.
Okay. Right.
So
Stella-
hypothetically, if knowledge nobility is the one you use, you could end up with +9 since you have her weakness.
Right. And which are
Um,
the skill? What skills can I use on her? I'm sorry.
Knowledge nobility, sense motive, appraise, diplomacy, or intimidates. And these would obviously all represent different kind of ways of approaching the conversation.
Okay. Well, I think Athela is going to diplomacy.
Okay. And don't forget to add your +4. Well, I mean, you already know what I'm gonna say.
I did not succeed, but I also think I managed to not be a complete idiot.
No, this just represents that throughout this conversation that you guys are having, or more likely what it sounds like is this portion of the conversation you're having,
Yeah.
that you haven't managed to majorly affect her opinion of you. Though we do need to keep in mind that seeing as you are a part of this conversation, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case since you're here with Tychus as well. But presumably, even though you didn't do the weakness roll, I'll leave this up to you whether or not you've been able to convince her that you're actually someone worth talking to. She might just be letting you exist in this conversation while Tychus is here.
Yeah.
That's totally possible as well.
And I think that's the impression Athela's kind of gotten. She's much more interested in talking to Tychus, and Athela is at the end of this sort of interaction. She's going to politely excuse herself from it and head back down from the gallery.
Okay.
So I believe that is our section done for this round.
I am going to yes, I did want to make a note. It wouldn't have mattered in this case, I don't think, for you guys. But if you have a compelling argument, I would let you use a skill not listed for influence. But I would most likely increase the DC.
That is fair.
Makes sense.
And as a note, I don't think I mentioned this, but I think it's fair for me to tell you guys this. If you do the checks well enough, if you succeed in certain increments, you can get multiple successes from the same roll.
Okay.
I have a history of rolling really, really low when I have high modifiers.
He still
Do
hasn't
be
had a
like,
natural one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let us
Well,
move
that is
on
it for
to Ventus, who I believe is back in the Arcade of Triumphs.
That's correct.
Okay. What are you doing over here, Ventus?
Well, my mission. So this is really my first time actually, other than just walking through. This is the first I've really been in this area. But my mission is to retrieve some curio to procure some curios, right?
Yes.
So I want to
You're actually supposed to get multiple.
yes, well, I said plural. To like locate them where they are.
Yeah, you can find them. They're prominently displayed. It doesn't give me a specific place, but I'm sure they're spread out throughout the Arcade of Triumphs in different places because like I'm pretty sure it said what the items were in there, but there's this silk fan you're looking for and a spyglass that are like historical items, and then there's a journal that belonged to this earl's great-grandfather. And then there's a very fancy dagger in there. It's a silver dagger that is like a famous general's that you would know was used to slay a vampire.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like it's real silver. It's not just painted.
Oh wow.
So they're all
The fan and the spyglass might be next to each other, but if you're worried mechanically, it doesn't, like, it's not going to change their position.
No, I mean, but they're all like in areas they're not like in alcoves. They're out like on the main floor, so to speak.
Yeah, they're displayed and there's people around them. Yes. But I mean, I've given you the details of your mission. I believe I've told you how you can take care of them. If I haven't, I do apologize.
Well, you said a sleight of hand check, but I'm gonna have to find a way to give myself some sort of advantage on that because I don't have sleight of hand.
It is tough.
At a skill, can you even do Sleight of Hand untrained?
I assume you can. It would seem weird if they left this mission to people who didn't fit into one of the other categories and you couldn't do it untrained. That would actually just be fucked up.
There's a Dex trained only skill.
Well,
I just looked it up.
that doesn't really seem fair. So in this one specific case, I would let you use Sleight of Hand untrained.
Yeah.
Though, if you remember, I don't really know if anyone else cares, but you don't need to collect all of them. You just need to get a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they're in boxes or anything. They're just like on display. You just need to be able to do it when no one's looking.
Yes, yeah, which is why I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to ensure that fewer people are looking, essentially.
Maybe if somebody like was get the attention of the people in the room, like with a riveting story or pointing out stuff on another exhibit or something.
I think there's an obvious in-game answer here that you can work towards. What are the main ways you can interact in the area you're in?
I can influence the room. I can talk to and influence a character.
Yes, and the only one here is Hystratigos Maxillar Pytharius. I'm not going to say anything further, but those are your common options, and that's the direction that I can provide you.
I guess I'll try to influence the strategist.
Okay. You can start off by just trying to get some general knowledge of them if you'd like. Okay, I can give you a little bit about them. Pretty much everyone here knows about Hystratigos Pytharius. He is the easiest to recognize of all the Taldan military. He's the commander-in-chief. That's as high as you can get within the military, with the exception of the Grand Prince himself. He's the right hand and a fanatical supporter of the throne. He stays out of politics, though. That's why I did bring that up earlier. If you do force them onto him, well, there probably isn't a reason to, because you already know his opinion and you know it's not going to change. He believes in political might and economic stability through military supremacy. He thinks the military can solve all your problems. And he's a devout advocate of new wars and conquest regularly. Specifically when it comes to Andorran and Cheliax, though Quadria does come up sometimes. He tends to focus on the colonies themselves. He thinks they should be back under... They should be in what he would call, quote-unquote, the fold.
Okay.
Now, if you want for this man, you could give me a knowledge, nobility, or sense motive check to either find out his influence DCs or his discovery. This is free.
Okay.
Did you not want to do that?
Oh, no, sorry. I clicked the wrong one.
That's fair. Those seem to be very far apart from each other, though.
They are. I wasn't paying attention.
That is a very good roll. Which one of those would you like?
I can find out his influence, what his influence DCs are, or what was the other one?
Or his discovery. Which in the last case was specifically a weakness that they could use to increase future influence.
I'll go for his discovery.
Okay. In this case, it is also a weakness that I would need handle animal, ride, or swim for.
Not great.
So
No.
you can either give me that weakness, or you can just give me an influence. If you would like, I can tell you what influence checks are available before you make your decision.
What influence checks are available?
Knowledge, nobility, and sense motive. You'll see that pretty much all of them have that. You could also use diplomacy or intimidate, and the final one you could use is profession soldier.
It would be really a surprise if Ventus turned out to have profession soldier.
Never know.
Hey guys. No, I'll go for. I don't know which one's going to be best.
You don't know because you tried to figure out what his discovery was.
Yeah.
Are any of those like discoveries worth it? Because discoveries do always give you a flat +4 to your influence checks. I know you need to be trained for handle animal and ride, but you do not for swim.
You could roll and be you could roll real well on swim and be like, I'm a super avid swimmer.
I have a -1 to swim.
That's fair. It sounds like it might not be worth it for you to make those rolls.
Yeah, I don't really think it is.
Okay. Which influence sounds best to you?
I guess we'll go with nobility. Knowledge,
Okay.
nobility.
Throw it out there. Don't forget to include your -2.
Oh yes.
Give me a
Well-
reroll. I always ask for rerolls when the dice is wrong, no matter the outcome. And you will do that with the modifier box in the bottom left.
Oh.
That is not enough to influence him.
Okay.
Let us move on to Davluk. You are down here.
Yeah, in the rotunda.
No one calls it that besides you. That is not the official name of it. Just to let you know. Everyone would just call this the Senate floor. I guess I probably should have done a recap of the Arcade of Triumphs, but I feel like out of all of them, that was the one that sticked out the most. If you guys would like me to, I can go back and give you a little information about that.
I'm good.
Up to you guys. I think I have most of the important stuff in my notes.
Yeah. And a bunch of us spent a little while in the Arcade of Triumphs when we started out. So
That's fair.
last session.
Well, I haven't heard any objections. I'm sure if there are any, I'll hear them in the future. So we'll move on. The Senate floor, though. Big circular room, big indent in the ground that, for very special occasions like this one, is open to pretty much anyone that can make it in the party in this case. And there's a lot of would-be nobles that are taking their chance to come in here and live out a little power fantasy with, mock legislation or lively debates, stuff like that. So there are 2 NPCs here. You can either talk to a Baron Nicholas O'Keery, or you can talk to Calbio from Breezy Creek, the soon-to-be noble, or you can influence the room.
Yeah, going to first make entrance with trying to influence the room as I enter. Give a little genuflection. So, and the small. And take a look for where an opening in a conversation might be appropriate to step in and work my charms.
Okay. You could give me a profession clerk, or I actually know what that word is. That's not normal for me.
Could you type it out?
What's
I got
the
it.
question?
Yeah, barrister.
It's another term for lawyer.
Yeah.
Holy shit! There's actually a profession barrister in here. I wouldn't think I'd actually.
Yes, there is. There is a profession barrister, and it's basically Pathfinder's equivalent of a lawyer.
Yeah, I know. I have it. I'm that's my background.
Oh.
So if you want to use that would definitely be the easiest. I would follow that up with a perform oratory or a knowledge local nobility or religion. And then past that would be bluff or sense motive. Those are your options.
Well, knowledge nobility is by far my best skill, so let's have an old country.
Okay, throw it out there. Okay. I will make a note of that.
Thank goodness for high modifiers.
Yeah.
You've definitely influenced the room around you by quite a bit.
Introducing myself as Junker und Baronet David Kybrecht von Draxstein. What's it?
If you're having a hard time remembering it, I'll probably have a hard time remembering it.
Yeah.
It was
Now, like, I get-
wasn't it?
Yeah, I get very distracted by feedback in the background. Yeah, Junker und Baronet David Kybrecht Ragnar von Streitweide Draxstein.
That is such a
Used to laugh.
mouthful.
Like German nobility names are just like this.
You have that written down
Good.
somewhere? Is that?
Yeah, it's in the notes.
Okay,
Yeah,
because that is
Yeah,
so
it's-
much.
Because it's like German nobility names are your first name, middle name, surname, and then von or zu, and then your house name. So like German nobles have 4 names.
Nice. Okay, you have
Yes.
made a very big impact on the Senate floor.
Yeah.
I'll give you 5 points for that.
Let's see. Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
would involve
right.
you beginning to get engaged with like one of the debates that's going on in the room.
It's clearly something of an academic who's, while the mysterious fauna clearly is put in his research about Taldane nobility.
Okay, that's perfect because like one of the common subjects that's being debated right now is like the actions of previous noble leaders. So your knowledge of that will really help.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so sorry
yeah.
that you rolled a 3 there. Like with that plus 14, you could have done some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah.
just keep trying, man. I got faith in you.
He's got one heck of a modifier on that. It's like Linalise's intimidate all over again.
Let's move on to the next social round, and I'll have you guys roll again your initiatives.
All right. Can I guess I just get 1 minute to use the bathroom since I assume want to leave during anybody's thing.
Yeah, that's fine. If you need if anyone else needs to do a quick bathroom break as well, that's okay.
Oh, I finally don't roll shit for once.
Nice.
So, Jacob, are there
That
any
was
other
an initiative.
people? Are there any other people on the list who we know are senators? On the list of notable people to talk to? I'm not sure any of the ones I have on the list are actual senators.
Well, opposition doesn't necessarily represent just senators. Like I would think that the High Strategos would cover that as well, even though he's not a man for politics. Okay. You could definitely because you're effectively here to identify people that represent opposition and then make them look bad.
Right.
And he definitely
that
does.
Is fair. And he definitely she would be quite happy to make him look bad.
Who's another good one? The Baron in the Senate floor. Baron Okira. That's another good one. And I think there's more, but I'm not going to dig through this whole thing. I think that gives you a few decent directions.
Okay. I just was trying to figure out like where to go, like what Othello would know about like where like to look for this essentially.
If you guys want to roll your initiative checks, that'd be great. I know that one of us is stepping away to use the restroom real quick. If you guys are okay with that, I'll use that opportunity to go grab a drink.
Sure.
Okay. It'll be like 2 minutes at most.
Yeah.
We're rolling initiative. So...
Everyone or just you two?
Everyone. Everyone is supposed to roll initiative.
I really rather wish I could have saved that roll for influence.
I wish I could have rolled any of my rolls other than the 2 for influence. Okay, so I think I will, Athela is going to go to the Senate floor. Very much enjoy making the embarrassing the High Strategos in some way or messing with him.
Right.
She also doesn't really want to talk to him.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
She has just say there might be some bad blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get that final thing of initiative?
Yep.
We got everybody.
Yeah. Even when I roll well, I still roll. Even when I roll well, I still roll less than most.
I mean, We didn't get Volkir's roll for initiative.
Oh, we did. That's
I
18.
did.
He rolled a
Yeah.
d20, but that wasn't an initiative.
Oh.
There's a button for initiative. It's on the main tab and it's on the combat tab. There we go. So we literally, I mean, are you guys, where are we going? That's important. Are we splitting up? Are we staying in the same
Yeah.
place?
I am remaining in the gallery. I'm gonna take a go at getting influence with the Countess here, since I already got that started.
Good call.
Athela has moved to the Senate floor.
Owen, Volkir.
I'm staying in the entryway.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the Senate floor and try and chat up the good Baron.
We'll start with Tychus then.
Alrighty. So, don't need to do another discovery because I've already got that and already got the weakness check. So, what are the skills I can use to, as we continue this conversation with the Countess and try to establish a little more rapport?
You could use knowledge and ability, sense motive, appraise, diplomacy, or intimidate.
Alright, so, we will go with the sense motive then.
And I believe, didn't you end up getting the information for all that?
Yeah, yes,
Athalia?
+4 for weakness.
No, didn't Athalia get the DC for it?
Athela got the DC.
Yeah,
and
it's all
15.
15.
15 for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get +4 for any influences.
Yep, so this is attempting to influence Countess Pace.
Well, sorry, +4 for any of her influences.
Okay, and to do that, I just roll that up to +4 and then drag over from my skills like normal.
Yeah, you just put a 4 in the modifier box in the bottom left.
Alright. Alright,
Okay.
so
That's enough for you to get 2 successes.
alright.
You do
Nice.
need more, though, before you can get the benefit.
Okay. So I spend my time continuing to talk with the Countess, leaning into playing up my persona I establish as a staunchly conservative scholar. And that goes on.
You fit in around here, Tychus. Okay.
Do I really? I appear to.
he pretends to fit in.
Let's move on to Ventus. What's Ventus up to?
I don't know if I should keep trying to influence the Strategos or however you pronounce it, or the entire room. I'm torn.
I guess what does he think would be more likely to help him with his mission?
Probably the yeah, he'll try to influence the room, I think.
Okay. So if you're influencing the room, you can give me an appraise check or use magic device. Next on the list would be knowledge, history, or nobility, and after that would be perception or spellcraft.
Okay, it'll have to be nobility.
And remember, you're rolling with a
-2.
-2. This is your last round with that. Okay, and that was a nobility.
Yes.
Okay, that's enough to get you 4 points, which does bring you up to the next threshold.
Woo.
Brings you up
So
to
what does the threshold do?
brings you up to 13 points. There's a guest, much like yourself, that's commenting on the history of the crossbow that's resting in one of the cases. And she says that the crossbow's name is Dignity's Barb, a famed weapon of the 7th Army of Exploration. And it was displayed in the case centuries ago, but it was lost and replaced with a reproduction. And this guest goes on, she continues to talk about its history as a weapon that like gloriously slew a raving Kelid warlord.
Awesome. It's called Destiny. It's Destiny's Barb, right?
Dignities.
Dignities.
And it's yeah, it's plural. Well, not plural. Owning possession.
And this one is the replica.
Yes.
Excuse me a moment.
That's fair. We can move on to the next person in line. Let's move on to Thalia. Or Thella, sorry. I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm making it fancy.
All right, so Othello was going to go and attempt to talk to the Baron
Okay.
in the Senate floor.
You can give me a sense motive or knowledge and nobility for some general information.
Sure. Knowledge and ability. I don't think I know anything.
Moving on. Would you like to give me the next one? It would be the same
The
checks
next one
this
is
time.
the- Okay. And it would be and I could choose to have it be for a weakness or to just to learn the influence.
Well, for discovery, up to this point they have both been weaknesses, but they might not always be.
That is fair. I'll go with the discovery, sure.
Okay.
Jeez, these are some not great rolls. Ella, roll better.
Okay, that is not enough to get influence DCs or the discovery.
Yeah.
So you can influence the Baron if you'd like to.
Sure.
That
I'll
would
still try to.
that would be knowledge nobility, sense motive, bluff, diplomacy, or knowledge local.
I'll go with diplomacy. That is Othello's best of those. So. Okay.
That
Well,
is not enough.
Looks like not going to succeed. Guess that's it for her.
Moving on. Last, but definitely not least, Davluk. What are you up to?
Yeah, I'm going to introduce my is Othello just working the general room or the Baron?
That was for the Baron.
That was for the Baron. Okay.
That's why she had all those extra checks.
All right. So I'm assuming she didn't get much useful out of him.
That's exactly why I didn't say anything.
Okay. I'll try myself with my own knowledge and ability.
She basically tried having some kind of conversation with him, and she hasn't made any progress up to this point. So, to be fair, like, immediate gratification is very hard when it comes to these checks. Sorry, what was this for?
To introducing myself to the Baron and seeing if I can't strike any sort of conversation with him.
Okay. Well, I would have asked for check to get some general information for him first.
Okay. So that would be diplomacy?
No, it would be knowledge, nobility, or sense motive.
Okay. Yeah, so try roll another knowledge ability check or just use
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Roll again.
Okay. Yeah. Just introducing myself as Sir Davnuk, and be very charmed to make your acquaintance. Oh, there's the overkill roll.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
very,
Oh, yeah, way too many single digits in that log.
Yeah. So I have given you guys a little bit of information about him, but I'll give you a little bit of a refresher. He's well known for his good looks and his combat skills, and he's actually a noble and a hero in the county of Merritt. But you would know that he is actually a celebrity in the tournament circuit. But he's a very stern leader. And he's like publicly known as one of the chief defenders of law and order within Taldor. He's not one for pomp or circumstance, and generally speaking, he completely avoids the noble courts of the Senate building. Unless it's an event like this where he can refresh everyone's lackluster memory when it comes to the importance of law. He's a very charming man, but as you can maybe tell with the way I'm talking about him, it's somewhat mitigated by his devotion to the order for which he defends. The laws of the society are the most important thing, and he makes sure you know about them.
Yes. So introducing myself as a nobleman from Ustala, sent here to mine the branch of the family down here, and also to further the bloodline. And so, also not much for the local pomp and circumstance, but I'd be charmed to make your acquaintance. And he says with the smile and this, like, yeah, not informality, but not trying too hard to be formal.
He moves past it very quickly and immediately just grasp on to like the first thing you bring up that he can like spout some kind of conversation about to just further his quote unquote agenda. So you talk about like how you're here and you're looking to get acquainted with someone, and he immediately starts talking about like the proper procedures for that, and how you should take care of that and what kind of responsibilities you have with that.
Yeah. And so like offer like measured praise for Taldane's more centralized system as opposed to Ustalav's confederation of eternally squabbling counties, is where every count sets more or less their own laws, and often you can be arrested for something that's legal in one county, but not the one you happen to be in.
Yeah, and he points out how inconsistencies like that are bad for both the common man and the nobles themselves. If we can't all be upheld to the same laws, and we don't know which laws to follow when and where, then we're all lesser people for it.
Right. He's hoping that by coming here from Ustalav, he can hopefully bring some of Taldane's structure to the country many people consider to be cursed or just generally doomed in general.
He's very quick to put down any kind of notions of that. He doesn't believe in that kind of superstitious train of thought. It doesn't work for him. There's nothing to prove that that's actually going to take you very far.
Yeah, so like this, like Tarbathon was about 1.5, was like thousands of years ago. I think the people of Ustalav should learn to come out of their hovels rather than live in fear of a dead tyrant.
Sounds like there's a big conversation here that he'd be willing to have with you for this whole 15-minute period. So why don't you give me a knowledge, nobility, or sense motive to figure out either his influence, DCs, or something in his discovery. Okay, which one would you prefer?
Let's see. The discoveries.
Okay. It's a weakness. If you can give me a knowledge, nobility, or linguistics check, I'll give you some more information.
Yeah. Oh.
Nice. Okay. So with this conversation you're having, you realize that there is this this shard of doubt in his heart that he harbors, and it's the impact that a successful version of Princess Entropia's bid could have when it comes to the ending of I keep butchering this word.
It's pronounced primogeniture.
It's not even a pronunciation. Like, I've heard people say it before.
The word just doesn't come out of your mouth, right?
Yeah. It feels weird. Like, it makes me feel I'm uncomfortable about it. Primogeniture. He's, as I've told you, he's a pretty staunch defender of the law, and and a big part of that is he's a firm believer in tradition. And there's this worry he has that the princess's actions will endanger the stability of Taldan law. She, in his eyes, is a source of instability that could lead Taldor to falling into the chaos that its surrounding colonies have just become entrapped in. And this is something you're able to find out through like your discussion with them. And maybe even depending on how keen you are, this is up to you, Volkir, whether or not Davlik can pick it out through this, is kind of like the way he interprets what I would call like the letter of the law. He has a very strict, though slightly skewed version of his view when it comes to the way the laws are written. And you can see some of his inclinations would lead towards an opposition of Entropia. But with this, I would think that with you trying to influence him, what this would represent, you understanding this weakness, is that you could capitalize on his uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I guess Athela heard some of this too, since she was there for the conversation as well. She just was less successful.
Yeah.
Like his general thrust is that the best form of order would come from measured change to adapt to the times without because like if a tree refuses to bend to the wind, it will eventually break. Like essentially the analogy he's going with. So it's best to like guide the process of change so that the country doesn't become brittle in its hard insistence on staying the same eternally.
I will ask you for an influence check with that before I make any comments, but I do want to throw something out before we get to that, guys. In the future, if we have multiple people in the room, I was kind of thinking, because like this initiative is just like an artificial way I'm creating to give us some order so we're not stumbling over each other. Would you guys prefer if there's multiple people in the room that you guys decide in which order people act? Because I can see a version of this where like a fella could have got a bonus because Davlik went first, and then kind of the way we're using initiative interrupted that when there's not really
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
an initiative.
That'd be
Yeah, I
all
think
right.
that's
Yeah.
fair.
I
Yeah,
would be fine with having us sort of discuss the order in which we want to do things when we're in the same room.
Okay.
Uh,
I imagine that would have gone down with Davlik going before Athela.
yeah.
Is that, yeah, that's correct?
Yeah.
Okay. In
I
that
think
case,
so.
you would have succeeded Athela, knowing the weakness that Davlik could have provided you. Would Davlik have given that to Athela?
Oh yeah, he's a
Okay.
good chap.
Okay. Yes, then I will say that Athela got a success. I know this is a little retroactive, but
Okay.
I will make sure it's a little bit cleaner in the future.
Okay. Hey,
I
we're
hadn't
all still
thought-
sort of figuring out.
Yeah, that lawful good isn't there for show. He is a good boy.
So I will say that Athela got a success, and if you would like to now give me a bluff, diplomacy, or knowledge local check, you can, Davlik.
Okay. Knowledge local. I don't have that trained. Bluff.
Or diplomacy. Those are both options. Those are your other two.
Diplomacy is the best one.
Okay.
And I'm assuming he's heterosexual.
You didn't add your +4 for the weakness,
It's true. You do need to give me a reroll.
and
Okay.
Jacob will tell you if he attracted you or not. So he could be. You never know.
Yeah. Unless you know, I won't let you know. You can make whatever assumptions you want.
Okay, so plus.
Yeah, so you're going to be rolling with a +10. Nice. That is enough to give you like 3 successes. So that brings us to a total of 4 successes because your successes do work together.
Yeah.
Because we are a team.
Though the way I would interpret this is, especially with the two of you being here together and having the conversation at the same time, this would represent Davluk recognizing this weakness within Baron Okara, providing the information to Athela, Athela opening a way for Davluk to finally convince Baron Okara that like Princess Entropa's bid is actually the best thing for Taldor, that she's actually doing what's right, and you managed to convince him with your combined might.
Oh, well, that's real positive.
Nice.
Teamwork.
Yeah, the power of a twink and a redhead working together.
Davlik and Athela, more specifically Volkir and Steven, I would recommend making a note of someone that you've influenced and keeping it on your sheet, because this could potentially matter in the long run.
So influenced on like a list.
Yeah, I'd recommend just having like a note on your sheet or in the notes tab, whatever you prefer.
Okay.
And just put Baron Nicholas Okira. If you want me to spell it out, I can.
You.
Well, I'm sure we all know how to spell Baron. That's his title. Nicholas. God, there's so many ways to spell Nicholas. Why?
I
Why?
asked.
Nicolau.
The only part I messed up on was the U.
That's how they get you. Like you can spell Nicholas like a million different ways, and half of the versions are just adding one
Well,
letter.
it's just 'cause it's a name that shows up in a number of different languages.
I
I
think
thought
that's
you
the
were going to say.
I think that's the
you were going to say the same.
Italian.
You're going to see a lot of Eastern and Southern European names when we're here, though there is a decent mix. It'll mostly be Eastern and Southern European.
Yeah, I think that's the Italian spelling of the name.
I was half expecting it to be like Nik.
No, Nik would be the German spelling.
Yes.
And then
Well,
Okira
you never know.
is Okerra.
Ah, you have to have the double R.
I don't know, with like the double R, If it was a K, I would have been implied to just think it was Russian, but that's my ignorant monkey brain speaking.
Yeah, it's probably
All
some
right.
weird. It's probably some weird Italian name, but I think all Italian people are weird.
I'm Italian.
Is that it just
To be fair, I think everyone's weird.
That's fair.
Okay.
well, it's not Italian, it's Latin. Let's call it what it is.
But yeah, we had some success.
Nice job.
You guys like
Um,
way overkilled the number of successes you needed for the Baron.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess here's the thing. So we convinced someone who was a pretty staunch opponent, apparently, he should now support her. So I have to find a new opponent to create a scandal around.
Yeah. I guess
We're too
Othello.
effective.
Yeah,
That
I think.
that to me sounds like a specific way of interpreting it.
I was making a joke.
Okay.
As you can see, I'm laughing. I was saying it's like we were too effective.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, like Davlo probably just wasn't informed of what Othello was here for, so he just like carried on his usual business.
Oh no, it's honestly it's better to have made him support it. It's funny because of what her specific mission.
Yeah, sabotaged by the pretty boy just being too good at talking to people.
You
Sabotage
could literally
is
just
positive.
spread a bunch
think-
of like shitty news about him and you would still be rewarded.
Well, I mean,
I could, but Othello is
Okay.
also not an asshole, and we did make him actually want to support her. So I'm not sure that she wants.
well,
to
I mean,
change now.
causing a sudden change in his opinions could, in and of itself, be considered a scandal.
Yeah, I mean, like,
During the
consider-
movement.
yeah, like
Oh yeah,
consider.
she could just spread the rumors, basically saying that he's changed his mind and what impact that might have.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
distinct to like the other Taldane like conservatives, like one of their big supporters like changing their opinion because some foreigner had a chat to him. Like some people would be outraged.
People had a chat with him.
Yeah, especially since like it's a foreigner specifically, and like generally Taldor, from what I gather, generally regards like Ustalav as like the boonies.
It's pretty insular. It doesn't really matter where you come from.
Yeah, unless you're from Casmaron, then they care, and then it's usually that they hate you.
Well, that's the thing. Really, what you're looking at when it comes to how Taldorans look at outsiders, it's to what degree do they hate you, and like the closest you can get to avoiding that is like a colony that specific groups of Taldoran nobles might look at as maybe not rebellious but misguided. So you might get something like pity as an example, as opposed to just hatred or frustration.
Yeah.
They probably find a way to look down on an actual Aslanti.
So, I guess, well, yeah. I was just thinking, I guess Othello could basically spread the rumor that he's changed his mind, and that might have an impact.
True. Let's
Yeah.
move on to our third social round, since the chat that you all received from Princess Anthropia. You guys want to give me initiative? That would be appreciated.
Sure.
Ooh, a note I didn't make of earlier. The recap every week for which you if you did the recap last week, you do have the reroll. That is important to note. I would recommend using it soon. Seeing as we are about at the halfway point. If you did the recap last week, you don't roll this week, so next week we're going to have one person who can't roll, and that will be the case every week. And every week that you didn't get the chance to do the reroll, if you remember the number, you can add a modifier equal to the number of weeks you haven't had the chance to do the reroll. And the reason for this is that people who haven't done it in a long time will have a higher chance of getting the reroll, so that it has a better chance of spreading evenly. But if you don't remember that number, I'm not holding you liable to that. I'm not holding myself liable to that, because at the end of the day, I don't think if it's not important to you, it's not important to me. So if you don't remember it, you can just roll d20s every week.
I think I'm the one who remembers it the most. I always am adding numbers.
And that's another thing that it does, is that it ends up leading to people who don't really care about doing it, though they typically end up retaining a decent amount of the information. If they don't remember their modifiers, they don't do the recaps as often as the people that are eager to do them. So I am incentivizing remembering stuff from the last session in like a proper way, but I'm not like just forcing it so that everyone has to evenly take turns to do it. I'm allowing some variety in there that can be based on both random die roll and how keen you are in actually doing it.
Okay.
All right.
I would like 2 more initiative rolls though.
Right. Okay. Wasn't sure if you wanted the initiatives before we decided if we were moving rooms or not. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll take the initiatives, and I don't really care in what order you guys decide you want to move rooms. I would just like all the initiatives first. So if we get yours,
Okay.
Owen, that'd be great. Assuming Owen's here.
Yes. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Could you throw initiative out? We're doing a new social round. As you'll notice, there is some variety in how many social rounds you have in between events.
Yep.
Oh, just as a question, Jacob,
Mhm.
how? Cause I'm not, because my thing says to try to spread rumors with a bluff, if I get a successful bluff check. So my question is that like in place of trying to influence a room or influence a person, or how does that one work?
It doesn't specifically say, but I'm inclined to believe that you would give me a bluff or linguistics check as your action to spread these rumors.
Right.
Because you're dedicating time to it, right, to get your mission done, which is what
Yeah, that's
everyone
what I
else
was
has
thinking.
to do. So
Yeah.
I think it
that
would
is
be an
fine.
action.
Okay.
And I
I
would
just wanted
say
to
you
check
could
how it
also you could also do that anywhere you want. It doesn't say you need to do it in a specific place. You're just spreading the rumors, right? So if you want to move somewhere, feel free to. Yeah, at this point, if anyone's moving, let me know.
I think I'm going to stay up here. It'd be a bit of a waste to stop while I'm only halfway to the finish line, as it were. Or even less, I don't know. Either way,
You'll have to find out.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going back up to look at exactly what the DC of those were, so I can. Okay, so it's a DC 15 bluff or a DC 12 linguistics.
What are you looking at?
I was just looking at what the difficulty of my DCs are.
Okay.
Both of those are things I'm actually pretty good at. Hey. Lucella will after the productive conversation that she had with the Baron, that she and Davlik had with the Baron, she's going to express herself, and she is a.
Is anyone moving? I would like to know that first. Please let
What
me
I'm
know if you're
saying.
moving or not.
Oh, I was saying she's gonna make her. She'll go back over to the hall.
Okay.
The arcade.
But what's everyone else up to?
I'm staying in the arcade.
Okay. What about Tychus and Davlik?
As I said, I'm staying up here, gonna see if I can.
Hold on,
push
I
this
need to walk
conversation.
the dog for like 10 to 15 minutes. Be back quickly.
that's the case, we can just call our 10-minute break, though I hope in the future you're willing to wait for those 10-minute breaks.
Okay, 10-minute break is fine if that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best call if he's gonna disappear for a while. We'll call it 15 after.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see
Sounds
you guys
good.
then. You heard it here, chat. If you haven't yet, get up, get a stretch in, maybe grab some water. Probably should if you haven't at this point. Use the restroom, maybe grab some food, a little bit of everything, you know? Whatever you need to do. But, you know, get out there, do something. I will be back in a few minutes. Don't wait for me too long. Or do. Never thought I'd reach a point in my life where I would be unhappy about eating nachos.
Yeah, Yeah.
Well, I mean, anything will get boring after if you eat it too often.
Oh, I would agree. We should try to like structure things like taking dogs out and things like that when the break naturally happens. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just the
I don't-
occasional thing, that's fine. I get it. Sometimes stuff happens and you have to go, like it is a dog, but
Yeah.
still.
I take I take Addie out a lot during breaks. But I just wait for the break.
The only reason I'm unhappy about the nachos is that like they're probably gonna get made while we're playing.
Ah.
I'm not gonna eat them when they're fresh because they're gonna be messy, and that means I have cold nachos.
So the question is, what do you put on your nachos?
Fucking everything. I put liquid cheese. I put shredded cheese. I put jalapenos. I put pepperoncinis. I put green peppers. I put olives. I put onions. I put sour cream. Sometimes I'll do beans.
See, put a lot on your first.
Oh yeah, fucking
I
loaded. And
I like nachos, but I like nachos as in I like nacho chips. I don't really like any of this
That's
stuff
fair.
on them. I just like the chips.
I forgot burger. Like just some fucking burger meat. Just throw some of that on there.
Okay, I am in favor though of putting just like burger meat on the chips. That's
If you're
good. I'm
talking
just
like
not a huge
tortilla
fan of all the
chips,
cheese.
yeah, I can get
I
behind
like,
tortilla chips.
I don't know. I find that I often like nachos more in theory, and that when I end up having them, they're usually slightly disappointing.
I would imagine that part of that is like nachos is whatever you make them. So like like the easiest nachos to make are the least rewarding to eat. But
Well, yeah, that too. But I don't know. Like even like the good ones, there's always something. Like they use the wrong chips and they're slightly too soggy, or I don't know. It's not my favorite food.
that's
Great.
fair.
It's great when you're like to split at a table though, like when you're drinking.
My favorite of the sort of appetizer food would be between boneless wings and mozzarella sticks.
Oh, mozzarella sticks are great. I don't like wings though. I'm not a wing guy. Mostly because I don't like a lot of wings come with like a wing sauce, and like I like spicy sauces, but I don't like wing sauces. They always taste kind of weird to me.
Oh, each their own. One of my favorites. Like a mozzarella sticks though. Oh my god, I love those things. I shouldn't eat so many of those things, but I do sometimes. Like sometimes I'll just buy like the mozzarella sticks box.
Mozzarella sticks are fire. I'm totally the kind of person that like every now and then
From
I
the
could
store
like see
from
that
home
as
and just
stoner
like heat
food.
up a
Just
bunch
be
of
like,
mozzarella sticks and be like, this is my meal.
exactly. You just go buy a box of them and just like pour them out onto like a paper
Every now and
plate.
then I will have mozzarella sticks as a meal. The mozzarella stick meal.
Yeah, I've got some in my freezer.
Maybe I'll go into town tomorrow and get some mozzarella sticks.
I gotta remember that I have swashbuckler abilities that I don't think any of these skill checks are ones that they can be. But it is good to remember that I have that.
Yeah, in case any of you guys forgot, you guys are playing Pathfinder. You do have classes. There might be some useful abilities you have.
Yeah, on rare occasions.
Oh, yeah, I mean, daring do would be great if I needed to make an acrobatics, climb, escape artist, fly, ride, or
Yeah. Unfortunately, no magic allowed, so that removes a number of mine. But hey, skills.
It's fair.
It's actually kind of cool having skills be so relevant.
No, I was noting like I was like nice. I don't remember. Oh wait, daring do is
Mm-hmm.
okay, not so helpful. Though if I need to make a swing check for some, I could
Yeah.
make a. I would get a plus to add something.
Well, I brought up swim check earlier as like a
Yeah.
as an
Ride
option.
check's another one. Othello actually wouldn't be half bad rolling a ride check.
Yeah, go chat with the high strategos. That's another opponent.
Yeah, I think it's probably better that Othello not go.
No, Othello, you should come.
Join us.
You could create a
Othello.
distraction.
She could, but she'd probably get herself thrown out.
I mean, I'm gonna say she did move herself to the Grand Arcade, so isn't that what you're doing anyway?
Oh, she's not going to talk to him. She's just going back to the Grand Arcade. She likes the place. She doesn't like him, but he's one person.
Fair. As a note, he is the only noteworthy NPC there. Which leaves you with influencing the room. But like I said, there are multiple tiers. There is something to work
room,
towards.
or making her bluff or
That's true. Getting that done. You know, if you
Yeah.
get that done now, you can just look at the rest of the party as an opportunity to enjoy yourselves. As
or help
you know,
out my friend.
Lady Lothid said, enjoy yourselves and let this be the beginning of your politicking.
And hey, if you get everybody talking and paying attention to something else, that might be a distraction.
True. I like to know right now though, Damien, that like the ways that you're meant to make progress towards
Yeah.
this are like the very obvious ones that you have in all the rooms. Like the
Yes.
Arcade of Triumph is meant to be the simplest one. Though to be fair, they're not like looking at all of these, none of them are terribly complicated.
Yeah, I kind of figured when I was able to get one of mine with one roll, even if it was a good one, I kind of figured this is a little bit like Tutorial Zone. Like failure's still possible, but it's shouldn't be that difficult.
I mean, there are bad things that can happen to you guys, but up to this point,
Oh,
failure
yeah.
has just been a
Yeah,
lack
I'm
of
absolutely
progress.
sure we could get our butts kicked out of here if we messed up enough. We just did the wrong thing.
It's fair.
And hell, I still gotta find where this other guy is. He hasn't been mentioned in any of the rooms yet. But I also
Who?
kind of this Baron or Duke Centimus is the other
Oh,
person.
he's in the library.
Oh, was that where he was? I must have missed that one.
Yeah, he's in the Imperial Archives. Duke Leonard or Leonard or Leonard, because I've actually heard it. I've seen it pronounced both ways.
See, I have him in
Duke
my notes.
Leonard Centimus.
See, I have his name written as Centimus with an S. I must have misheard the name. Like Centimus, not Centimus. All
I
right.
thought it was Septimus.
That's your boy.
All
Yeah,
right.
but he is there, so, and he's in
I
the
thought
library.
I thought I was going to like do influence room checks to find this guy. All right, that's actually makes this a bit more confident in finding the other half of this then.
So there's like a couple different ways that all of you can find. For those of you that have targets, there's a couple different ways you can find them. It can be general knowledge, it can be checks, or it could be information from other players. So there are a handful of different ways you can find out where people are. Though, yeah, if something like that ever does pop up again, 100% feel free to just be like, hey, Jacob, what the fuck's going on here?
I figured part of the challenge would be finding the guy, is what my thought was.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm kind of leaning into this thing with the Countess just because I got that really good bluff check for playing the super conservative scholar. So I'm thinking like might be cool to have a contact in the other party, as it were.
Play into it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need more influence to fully influence her. So I mean,
Yeah,
personally, I wouldn't throw away the progress you made with.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool though that Athela and Davluk together made the real big impression on the Baron.
She managed to change the guy's mind.
Yeah, it was a surprise. I guess mostly we convinced that a small amount of change rolled can be okay.
You convinced a law-abiding traditionalist that he should change a traditional law.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, switching from male-only primogeniture to gender-neutral primogeniture is like the absolute definition of tiny incremental change.
That is true, and I'm not even sure if it is just prime. I'm not even sure if it was that way or if it was changing it to
I think they're changing it to male
hybrid.
preference instead of
Yeah, I
male.
think it's still male. Yeah, it's male preference instead of
Oh, geez,
of
I didn't.
must be.
Right,
So-
yeah.
As a note, up to this point, I will let you guys know I've only read book 1. I have not bought any further books yet.
Right.
Up to in book 1, they do not specify to me, to the person running this, whether or not all they've told me is they're abolishing primogeniture.
Okay,
Wait, completely?
I thought it was.
Really?
I
That's not what the impression I got from the player's handbook. That'd be just
thought it was
me.
they were changing it.
That's the wording they use, but if you look at the context within the book, at least if you're me, and it sounds like from the player's guide as well, it seems more like they're keeping it, but they're making they're making it gender neutral. So it's
Okay.
to go to the children.
Did I miss
Um,
anything?
Just chatting.
Didn't miss it.
Well, so I thought that. So I thought that they had male-only primogeniture, which
That-
meant that only males
They
could
did.
inherit.
That's what they
And
have
then
right
they're
now.
going to male preference primogeniture, which means that females can inherit, but only if all the
There's
male
no
heirs
valid
are
males,
dead.
yeah.
It
That
that's
was my-
not what it tells me.
Okay. Well, then in
I
that
guess-
case, I guess it's just going to direct primogeniture or to gender.
Yeah, I guess I
Fair.
must have just inferred that on Crusader King's
But-
brain.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing about that is it's not a direct conflict with what it's told me, but there is some like looseness to the terminology they're using. So it might be telling you guys something and telling me some other things that are kind of vague.
Well,
And
no, it doesn't explicitly say that it's in the player's guide that it.
Yeah, I think the reason that I just kind of assume that is because that's usually how this kind of progression happens, because it's easier to get like the conservatives to buy into like, oh, we'll only let women inherit if there's no other option, than it is to be like, oh
is
yeah,
the first step, and then the second
That's
step
usually
later.
step one.
yeah.
no, that's fair. And to be honest, that's honestly the kind of country you're in. There are quite a few countries in Glorian that gender wouldn't actually play a role in this, but this is definitely the kind of country where like that's important to note. Like this is a legitimately like country that has definitely some sex-based priorities and stigmas.
Yeah, well, everyone is here, so we can play again.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
And yeah, we're gonna have to definitely navigate that whole.
Let's get down to business.
The Huns.
Sure we're
Oh my
already-
god, I accidentally just used a sexist song for a reference to a sexist country. This is working in a weird way. Cool. I really like that song, by the way.
It is a really
Um,
good song, though.
It is
Regardless
very
of anything
catchy.
else.
If you guys
I think
haven't
the
heard it,
Japanese- I think the Japanese monarchy is like one of the few where women are not allowed to inherit under any circumstances.
I honestly wouldn't know.
But
And that's
No,
the funny thing about that song is that song can be viewed as a sex song, but it can also be viewed as making a man out of a boy that they sent, in a way. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
just,
mean,
like that whole sort of thing.
It
There
can
are
be
some lyrics
both.
that do.
Like they're not mutually exclusive,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
I-
it is a great song.
Yeah. If you guys haven't heard it, the version that Jackie Chan does in his native tongue, I mean, you probably won't understand it, but it is still beautiful.
I'll have to listen to that. Sounds funny to listen to at least.
I mean, if you like Jackie Chan, you're probably gonna like it. If you like the song, you're probably gonna like it. But it does just sound good. Like, I don't understand the language, and I can still appreciate it as a piece of music.
Yeah.
I think everybody except Davluk said whether they were moving.
Yeah. Well, is Davlik staying in spot?
Yeah, I got to want to meet the man of the hour.
Okay.
Right, the artist.
That's fair.
Okay.
Let's jump over to Athela. Let's see what she's up to.
Well, Athela is going to attempt a rumor.
I
Going
didn't
to
hear that. You
attempt to
cut out a little bit.
I said Athela is going to attempt to spread rumors.
Okay.
And she's going to attempt to spread the rumor about the change of heart of one of the launch. Oh.
Okay.
Hold on, I think I'm having some issues with my connection. Let me just try to fix that real quick.
I mean, I did pick up what you were saying, if that's what you're referencing.
Okay. She's gonna be spreading the rumor that one of the true rumor in this case that the one of the opponents to the law change has changed his mind and is now in favor of supporting.
That's something interesting that Steven just brought up that I don't think I bothered to key you guys in. I did provide you guys with rumors last session, and maybe keeping a skeptical mind when it comes to the validity of those rumors would be healthy for all of you.
Yes, I think I see a couple of those in the notes here.
Yep. So so the funny thing is that it is a bluff check,
Or
despite the fact that
linguistics.
she is telling the truth.
If you want to use linguistics, that was another option.
Oh right, yeah, she could use linguistics.
I don't know what's better for you off the top of my head.
I don't know what I'd have to recheck the DCs.
Statistically speaking, there's a very slim difference between the two.
Yeah, it's a
It's
DC
like
12 linguistics.
It's like a
and
percentile
DC...
you could count on one hand.
Yeah.
I think it's less than one die number. I think that might be the difference, is like a 1.
Yeah.
So roll what you think would be best, is what I would recommend, because the numbers aren't worth doing unless you're way better at math than me.
Yeah. Because I don't think that this counts as her attempting to create a. I don't think this is a linguistics check to which she gets to add her +2 involving creating or spotting forgeries. So
This is not. There's nothing to do with forgeries here, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. So it's just gonna. Right. So it's just bluff or linguistics. We're gonna try for. Oh, I'm gonna try the linguistics one.
Okay. Throw her out there.
Oh yes.
Let's hear.
It was hovering on that 6. I was like, oh no.
I saw it
Yes.
for a second. Let's hear Athela's tale.
So Athela's tale is that. So okay? Do you want me to have her say in character, like me say in character what?
Yeah.
Like her saying it to someone, or do you want me to have her say, or do you want me to have her summarize what she's saying?
I mean, I always have the preference for in character. As you've noticed today, I haven't done anything in character up to this point, but I also tend to just read off of social cues provided by the people I'm interacting with. So I have a preference, but if you would rather do a summary, that is okay.
Okay. Well, Athela would start out by finding a couple of other people who are chatting, and basically she'd go up to them and integrate herself into the sort of group of people who are chatting, and say that. So I heard that the I'm consulting names because I'm bad at names. So I heard that the Baron, Baron Akira, has actually changed his position after talking to this mysterious foreigner, and and has now decided that he's actually going to support the princess's bid for the throne. Isn't that exciting?
You're talking to a small crowd at this point, Athela, and you feel a gauntleted hand grab onto you from behind, resting itself on your shoulder, very gently, but still you feel the cold metal on it. And we see the High Strategos Pytharius comes up beside you, and he says, "As you can all see, there are many rumors tonight that are being spread freely. Do I blame a young lady such as yourself for these things?" And he looks out at the crowd now. Of course not. The gossip here is thick. He gives you all a moment, soak in what he said at this point, and inhales to a notable degree. Before he continues, he says, Baron Okira has been a staunch believer in tradition and in the ways of our people for as long as he's been a member of this noble society of ours. I am not one for politicking, as most of you know. You see him give a rough smile to one of the ladies on the opposite end of this little group. But I would ask that we pay attention to the malicious facts that can be spread when all of us stand by and let these falsities fester, corrupting our beliefs, changing our views on people when they aren't here to defend themselves. Take the words in for which I've presented for all of you tonight, and look at it as your duty as a member of one of the upper echelons of this society to not let further propagation of these deceitful beliefs spread, be it intentionally or otherwise. You see a few knowing looks in the crowd. Would you give me a sense motive, Athela?
Sure.
Oh boy.
Okay. That's a pretty good roll. I think that's enough for you. I don't think anyone in or out of character was questioning the High Strategos' belief in the statements he was making. Or at this point, Athela could confirm that the convictions for which you've heard of are very much true. But you can tell that there are a few people in the crowd that seem to take on, while everyone here has had to carry this burden for which the High Strategos has provided to them. I mean, presumably including yourself too. There is a weight to his words that is carried. You can see that there are enough people in this crowd that you're reassured that the job you've been sent here to do has been done.
Okay. Which is good, and Athela is basically keeping her face a mask of sort of the whole smiling, happy face, despite the fact that she is internally extremely uncomfortable with this particular situation.
This is an effect that the High Strategos has on people when he gets involved with politics, and is part of the reason he normally doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, so Athela is keeping her face very carefully blank right now.
Good. I think that is the last bit of context we need for that line of dialogue. Let us move on to the
So while
Valiant
all that's
Ventus.
going on,
Yeah.
is that drawing? You're saying that's drawing like a lot of attention in the room from like people all around it.
I mean, there is a crowd there, but keep in mind that there are remember, there are hundreds of people in this building. I wouldn't call it enough that you would feel any more comfortable doing the task than you would previously.
Okay.
And I'm sorry about that. I should have asked in what order you guys wanted to operate. I forgot to do it.
No worries.
If you did want to go first, we can say what you do happened first. Don't mind either way.
Oh, but it doesn't matter for me. It's irrelevant. I don't think it's like unless you like the only way it would have mattered was if your interaction had actually created some sort of distraction. But since it didn't, it's kind of not. I don't think there's going to be any difference.
Okay.
Sorry.
But Othello could try to help you out now, afterwards, so maybe she'll be able to help you in the future.
No, so I think I'll try to influence the room. This time you said diplomacy was an option in this room?
Diplomacy is not an option in the Arcade of Triumphs.
Yeah.
You have
rolled knowledge nobility before.
What was that?
Well, I said he'd rolled knowledge nobility last time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. If you want me to read the list off again, though, I can.
Yes, please.
Okay, so it would be appraise and use magic device, followed up by knowledge, history, or nobility, and then finally we would have perception or spellcraft.
Okay, so I will just stick with knowledge nobility then. Also, could you adjust your mic volume slightly? You're kind of really faint for me.
Hey, sorry about that. I was a little bit farther away from my mic than I normally was. Is this better?
No, that's all right. Oh.
I have my sensitivity on my mic finely tuned for where I'm normally sitting at my desk, so that it doesn't pick up surrounding noises. So I was just leaning back farther than I normally do, but I've adjusted the mic now, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure I could hear you properly.
And you sound like normal again, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the nobility check?
Yes.
Okay. That is enough to get you A points, but it does not bring you over a threshold. Would you like to use your reroll?
I thought it was.
Oh,
Tychus
sorry.
who had the reroll.
No, I didn't have the reroll. I was just reminding whoever had it that they had it.
Yeah.
Who gave this? Oh, it was Owen who gave the summary? I'm sorry, I missed.
I thought it was. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Owen.
It was me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Then I just got voices mixed up. I'm really sorry.
Hey,
I guess
you know
I'm
what?
just new to the group.
That's just me showing my lack of conviction. I should have held on to that. I knew it was you, Owen.
I'm sorry, guys.
yeah. Why not? I might as well re-roll it.
Yeah,
we're getting before the end of the session.
Yep.
You better?
It could be way better. It
That
could
was way
literally
better.
be 3 times better.
that was a lot better
as
roll.
that is enough to bring you to the second and final threshold of this room at a total of 22 points. I will let you guys know when you reach the final threshold.
So we don't waste actions.
Yes. That's the last thing I want to do. Obviously in this case, like, you could have ended up with another round or two depending on rolls, but I had a feeling you were going to roll decent, especially if you had a reroll.
Because you got a pretty good knowledge nobility skill, man.
Really solid for level 1.
Yeah. Well, I'm a great house noble, so there you go.
Oh yeah, and you also have the noble scion feat, right? That gives you the bonus to knowledge nobility.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean when I say I'm a great house noble.
Ah.
I have the noble scion feat. I'm from one of the big 5.
Yeah.
So there is
Nice.
a important person, an important woman specifically, that is going to be taking a keen interest on you with your based on your interactions in this room, Ventus. Her name is Copernia Val. She is the curator of antiquities here, and she's taken a shine, or as I said, an obvious interest, which she's expressing because of your interest in the history here. Whether or not any of that holds true, or if it just has something to do with how much you're focusing on the acquisition of the items, is entirely up to you, though I would be curious about that. Is there genuine interest behind your focus?
A curator?
Yeah. She's a curator of the antiquities here.
I mean, my character is knowledgeable about nobility because it's been drilled into his head since he was 3. But I don't think it's particularly a passion of his. So he's
Okay. So it's more something she inferred based on your actions than something you're genuinely expressing.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She notices this interest that you have with the items, and she begins to offer you this brief tour around the restoration room, which is basically like an adjoining room. And partway through this tour, she offers you a bottle of what she calls a universal solvent. I will give you these items in a moment, assuming you accept them. And what she calls, and I quote, an unguent of timeless. And she begins to describe the practice of the skills for the items that she's talking about right now. How do you feel about these things?
Do I know what they are?
She would be describing them, but maybe initially would be more of the question. And I'm not
Do I recognize them?
I'm not actually sure. Let me look at your sheet. I would say yes to the universal solvent. So you know what that is, and I will give a description of it in a moment. But I would have you roll a spellcraft check for the unguent of timelessness.
Okay.
I imagine you would be, but that is entirely up to you. I'm going to say you don't know what that is before she starts talking about it. It's basically this stuff that you can apply to something that used to be alive. It could be like a body or like a piece of paper or something like that, and it preserves it for an extended period of time. And it's like a huge amount. Like we're talking, if I remember correctly, it's like a year for every day is the actual mechanical effect. And then it gives it a bonus on saves. I mean, she would convey that in another way, like it makes them very resilient and last for a long time. But I'm okay with giving you that information. And it can be used, like the amount, like with the container she's holding, it can be used for like quite a bit of stuff. You don't know about it yourself, but I will like share the information about the items. I don't have a problem with that. Is this the kind of stuff that Ventus actually has some kind of interest in? If it
Well,
matters, they
he's
are
always
magical.
he's always interested in magic and learning more about magic and magic items, but
Okay.
Like I can't see him being particularly excited about these specific items.
Oh, no, that's fair. I just knowing that you're interested in magical items is the important part. I guess actually knowing that you're expressing these interests or not is the important part.
So yeah, I mean he's interested, especially the one he didn't know about before. He'd be interested in that, in particular, learning new magic. But
Okay. Yeah. And basically based on the interest you've expressed with the other pieces in the exhibit that she is, kind of showing you around, she provides you with both of these items. So I will give them to you identified. Basically for the Unguent of Timelessness, you can use that to coat something equivalent to 8 medium objects or smaller, and a large object counts as 2 medium objects, and a huge object counts as 4. I know this doesn't immediately sound like something that would be super useful, but this is the first example that this campaign is going to provide of items that aren't very common in other games, that they're going to provide you with a bunch of uses in the future to use these for.
Well, I mean, universal solvent's always useful.
Yeah,
That's true. I didn't bother to explain that. If I need to explain what it is for someone, I will. I just assume because it's a common item that people know. But if that's not the case, I apologize.
It's a common and really cool item. It's very helpful.
I mean, I personally knew what both of the items was, which is why I asked, like, does my character know?
Yeah, the universal solvent is kind of like, it's not super common, but with your character and how common it is relative to like magical items, I figured Ventus would know what it was. But if you think I'm wrong, you can let me know.
No, I think he probably would.
Okay. If you pull up the party sheet, have you done that before, Owen?
Yes.
Okay. If you pull the party sheet up, I'm actually going to drag those items into the inventory real quick. So they are specifically for Ventus to grab. So if you just drag the peso symbol from the party sheet next to whatever item you're trying to grab onto your inventory tab on your character sheet, it'll be in there. And make sure, actually as a default, if I remember correctly, they're automatically equipped. So they should be equipped on your person. Or carried, I think, is the default. Which is fine because it's not like...
yeah.
Terribly important.
Yeah. No,
Legend of Timelessness can actually be super useful because there's a lot of things that you might want to preserve.
Yeah. I mean, any magic item can potentially be useful. It's just a matter of the situation, right?
I like that this is the kind of campaign where these kind of items can be handed out and they are going to be useful, like for a fact, as opposed to a lot of other campaigns where they might hand something out like this and it's not guaranteed in the story that at multiple points you're going to have the chance to use this in like a useful way.
Yeah. Like I can already imagine quite a few ways that those items can be useful in the sort of intrigue and political focused campaign that this is supposed to be. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. So far, War for the Crown, this first book, is showing me really what Paizo can do, and it honestly makes me really happy, but at the same time, like the teeniest bit sad that second edition is so different from first.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad there's a lot of first edition adventure paths.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Let's move on now that Ventus has had his great triumph just
Oh, and I am
after.
very, of course, very graceful and thankful for, shower her with thanks for.
Thor.
Yeah. She's very receptive of it, and she actually probably like returns the gesture because she loves seeing someone in here who's so invested of the history of well, the country that you both live in.
Even if it seems Ventus was doing it in large part just because he wanted to get those items.
And I haven't said it up to this point, but something big for you, Ventus, is with this new piece here, I'm going to give you a +5 bonus on any sleight of hand checks performed in this room.
Oh.
All right. Here's the setup. Now he's got to make the hit.
Let's move on to Tycheus.
Yep.
Tychus,
Alright.
what is with me today? I've been playing too much fucking Warhammer 40k because I'm trying to add extra fucking syllables onto people's names.
Yeah, Tycheus and
Tycheus.
Athelia.
Lord Commissar Tycheus.
Oh God, no.
No.
Perfect example of someone who understands leadership but not tactics.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it also felt like you were. Honestly, I thought you were sort of combining Othello with Avalia, which was one of my other characters before
No,
she met an
I'm
untimely
not.
death, and so I was like, oh no.
I can guarantee that was not what was happening. I
Okay. Warhammer's a better explanation.
I was
Yes.
playing Battle Sector yesterday for a while, and they have a lot of good voiceovers there that are really intense, and
Ah.
they're gonna have a spot in my head for a minute, completely rent free.
Yep.
If I remember
Alright.
correctly, Tychus is going to be talking to Countess Pace once again.
Yep. I am continuing to talk with her, and Tychus is not a charming guy, but he is very observant, so he's going to continue picking and choosing his words carefully to figure out what she wants to hear, basically, and that's how I'm justifying my sense motive check for this.
Okay.
I'll
Don't forget to give
describe
yourself the
where I'm
bonus.
going. Yep. +4?
Yes,
And I'll just say what I'm saying, based on what I roll here.
that's fair. I can appreciate that approach, assuming it's handled correctly.
Yeah. I already have the direction I'm going, but so with that I sort of as we've been talking about this law and its passage and the general thrust of Taldan politics and law, I sort of start turning the conversation towards how much I'll say like it has been most refreshing to speak to someone such as yourself who's so politely indulged a scholar such as me. And that the nobility still remembers the true spirit of the law of Taldan and why it is so important to keep to our traditions, to cleave tightly to things that have kept us strong for so long. And I'm just very impressed with your conviction, and hopefully you'll be willing to speak to one such as me again. I can have my uses, and I would be happy to be useful to someone such as you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not the greatest at the actual improv.
If that's the way you feel, then I would look at this game as an opportunity for growth and improvement.
Like, I thought that was great.
Oh, thank you.
You
But
did fine, man.
I'm in the same boat, but if you believe there's room for improvement, I would love to be here to help you foster that improvement, because that's an admirable goal.
Okay. But yeah, the thrust is I'm kind of trying to set myself up to be a potential useful agent for her and hopefully get a contact in the enemy camp, so to speak.
How
Have a
did
conf-
you
have a confidant.
how did you like introduce yourself to her? Like what was the name you used?
Let's go with. Hmm.
I mean, if you want to go with Tychus Galatis, that's fine. And
Yeah, no,
hope-
I don't actually want to use my real name here, just in case. So let's go with Claudius Sibba, just because it tickles my funny bone a little bit for.
Do you have
character
to,
reasons.
just as a general question on that, when you do things like that, do you have to like do you have to like roll bluff to conceal names, or is that just a sometimes that comes up? I know I've encountered people who made you roll that whenever you like deceive like that, and I know I've encountered people who are like, only if they have a reason to doubt you.
Yeah.
This kind of falls back to kind of how I deal with skill checks in general, in which I will only ask you for a roll if I think there is a chance of it going multiple ways. So I'm not asking for one at this point because without
Yeah, I would-
revealing which way I think it will go, I know how she's
Yeah.
going to respond to whatever name he provides.
Yeah, we'll go
Okay.
with. I would probably have introduced myself based on my previous background as a legal scholar and a devotee of Abadar, and I would have just introduced myself probably by by a false name. Like I said, I'll go with Claudius and like another fake last name.
You got a last name for me?
Uh, Silba.
Okay.
And I will work on establishing that false identity after the party here.
Did you provide a title? You don't have to have.
What would the title be for like a person in that position in Abadar's church? Would there be a title for that?
There doesn't necessarily have to be, and it could be dependent on the church as well. That's one of those things where there's definitely some flexibility. So, if you don't have a specific one, you honestly don't have to provide one because there are definitely versions of the church where there wouldn't be. Just because.
I mean, Abbott's Church is pretty hierarchical.
Yes, that's
true.
why I wasn't sure if there was a specific title already.
I
don't
think there is, but to be fair, like while that's definitely quoted, if you go look up Avadar, there are very few roles that specifically are like this is the actual title for it. So I have a feeling just based on how they do things in Pathfinder generally that like it's dependent on a church by church case.
All right, so it's something fancy and Roman sounding. Let's go with expositor. Expositor Claudius.
Okay, I like it.
Is there anything else you needed from me there?
No, that's all I was looking for.
Okay.
Oh, did you succeed at maxing her out, or like actually making it, or?
I have no idea. I got a 23. And I started doing my actual little speech there.
Ah.
I'm flattered by the humility for which you've shown to me today. I am also humbled, something that is hard for me to admit, especially to someone I've just met, though I feel like I have been somewhat dishonest to you. You said Gladius was the name you went by, right?
Claudius, yeah.
Gladius. I feel like I've been somewhat dishonest to you, Gladius. My commitment to Entropia's cause, Princess Entropia's cause, I'm sorry, has been staunchly promoted, but there is a distinct lack when it comes to said actual commitment on my part. There was lobbying I could have done, people's minds I could have attempted to mold. And I appreciate you coming here to me and offering your assistance. I'd ask that if you find anyone else in the camp for which you claim is your own, that you take and you see her at this point start looking down at the drink in her hand, swirls it around a little bit. You take this little tale of ours elsewhere and you provide it to others as a lesson, something they can learn from. Infer from it for what you will, but I do regret my actions. And then she coughs a little bit. I don't remember if I brought this up last session. You kind of hear her like clear her throat a little bit, a very unlady-like gesture. There are some things that I will just say someone does as opposed to actually doing them, either because I don't think they'll come through on the mic, or because I don't want to force you guys to hear that come through the mic.
Right.
Yeah.
Something I would have done in person if we were at a table, but it just doesn't work on the mic.
I don't want to directly cough into a mic.
Yeah. Sounds a little different than if we were at a table.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that's where she will leave it at. You can give me a sense motive if you'd like.
All right. Do I still have the bonus for this, or
It's
no,
not
this
an
is just,
influence check. This
okay.
is different.
Fair enough.
The sense motive I'm asking for right now is different than.
Well, you rolled really good.
Yeah. She like genuinely is reflecting on her lack of commitment to the cause.
Oh no.
And you can see that she's definitely having regrets about it. This is sincere.
Okay. Oh.
Though I will say, even with that check, and I know this might stir up some emotions from people that aren't necessarily happy, keep in mind that you're talking with people that are far beyond the scope for which all of you possess. Take what I've said very literally, but only for the things that I've specifically mentioned. In what way she's reflecting on it and why she has these regrets, I have left out so that you can interpret them. Because she is of, like,
She's
most
a
of
lot
the
better
people
at this than me.
Yeah, like most people you're talking to tonight, They are ahead of you. This is you guys getting your foot in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
they are
you
better at
have
it than we are.
you have succeeded in influencing Countess Pace. And
Woohoo!
on top of the information you've already received so far from your conversation and the little bit of dialogue I threw on at the end, you specifically, Tychus, can have a +2 bonus on any skill checks related to influencing Baron Okira, Lady Marilla, or Princess Entropia.
Okay.
So hopefully I have provided you with a little bit of direction, though do not let this little bonus here dissuade you from doing any other actions if you had some predetermined path after this.
Okay. It was Okira, Entropia, and who else?
Lady Marilla,
Okay.
who is in the same place that Princess Entropia is. Remember, she was the
Yeah, she's the companion.
she was the lady who was there that got everyone together for the conversation that we had at the very end of last session.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. So
Don't forget about whoever it was that you were trying to look for, too.
yep, I remember Sentimus now. So with that,
now that we know he exists.
yes.
And
So with
I'm
that,
sorry
I
about
will-
that,
I will-
Damien.
And I will sort of put on a contemplative face and nod and thank her for her time and excuse myself politely as I completed this, I believe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you have got the
Yeah.
entirety of the influence that you can when it comes to the Countess.
Okay. And then I guess I will head down the stairs and then just at the bottom just stop for a second, close my eyes, and briefly look like I bit into a lemon, and then continue on my way.
Because you're an inquisitor of
I was a former Inquisitor of Abadar. I am currently an
right.
Inquisitor
You're
of
not an
Marauder.
Yeah. So the views you were espousing. Oh boy.
So that's my bit done.
I like it.
Hence the lemon. That makes sense.
Let us move on to what Davlik is up to in the Senate floor.
All right. The quick refresher on what the name of the artist was.
Elbio?
Are
Calbio?
you referencing the soon-to-be noble?
Yes.
Okay. Calbio of Breezy Creek. Though, depending on how pretentious you want to be, whether or not you view it that way, that's how I view it personally. You might not say Calbio of Breezy Creek. You might just talk to him and call him Calbio. He doesn't even have a last name. He's a peasant. It's not common for them to.
Yeah, like Davlik approaches Calbio and says, "I'd really like to have a discussion with the man of the hour. Hope you don't mind having to talk to some pasty-faced foreigner from the north."
This is an interesting approach for you to take. Roll me... Why don't... Volkir, why don't you roll me a d20? You want high or low? You want high or low?
High, I guess, until you roll the 15.
Fair. Realistically, without me giving you context, it's me giving you a false sense of direction when there isn't really anything to provide you with the fact that I might just change the results since you don't know what the outcome of a high roll is. But I promise that my intent is genuine and I'm not just providing you with that false sense. I just know there's a lot of skeptics out there that would believe that. Would you like to get a little...
Statistically, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Would I like to what?
Would you like to give me a knowledge nobility check to know a little bit about him? I know that might sound
Yeah.
weird, but it is actually applicable in this case. Sense motive would also be acceptable up to this point. Okay, yeah. I will give you guys a refresher of his background, and then I will give a little bit of insight that Davlik has for him. Which, Volkir, I want you to, once I do start giving you the extra bit of information, I would actually like you to formulate some kind of reasoning you have for having this information, because it's not something that a lot of people would have. It's a very niche piece of information, and the fact that you have it is actually on the crazier end of the spectrum.
The things having a modifier this big at level 1 do.
So as a refresher, just the general information I've given you guys. Caballo he's from a hamlet, a very small one by the name of Breezy Creek. And he's going to be elevated to the noble position by the Grand Prince tonight. He's the reason this whole party is here. This is a regular event where Aldoran nobles spend an extended period of time picking the best peasant in the land to elevate to their status. It's a little bit of tokenship in a lot of people's eyes, and it really does take any of those elevated peasants a very long time to actually have some noteworthy impact on the country, if they ever do, which is actually fairly uncommon in the grand scheme of things, since their houses are always way newer than the vast majority of the noble members.
It's winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Because even if you're the least of the nobles, you're still a noble, and that
That's
still
true.
matters.
That is true.
It just you just might not be influential, but you still just won that lottery, just like you said.
You know, unless you have no idea what you're doing in the political arena and drive your house into their ground because you don't have the skills to maintain it.
Well, I mean, you have to realize that the vast bulk of nobles are just local countryside nobles. They're they're the baron of a town, and they live.
Yes, nobles
They've got a nice house in the town, and they live there. But
And they sort of settle disputes for things in the town, and
they're administrators primarily. That's the whole point of feudalism, is because they didn't have enough people to have a centralized administration, so they had to dole it out to other
Locals.
So
yeah. So you guys would know that's what he's here for tonight, and you would all also know that like his family scrounged together as many copper pieces as was needed to pay for his education, because they are traditionally they're farmers, but they paid for his education as a weaver so that he could get an apprenticeship for it, which he ended up being like remarkably skilled at. So there's a story that was inspired by him that basically several of the local nobles in that area began clamoring over his tapestries, and for like almost a decade, this man's work was decorated in almost every imperial palace, and that's up to this day. So he's a really hot topic, and he has been for quite some time. He doesn't have any official service capacity, though, like as we can tell with what Davlik's doing right now, there still is this opportunity to interact with him. I will say, Davlik, that you can tell just from what you've gathered that he seems to be very excited about this event, and he has kind of that country folk vibe to him. He seems very happy that he's come to the big city. He's never been here before, and he's eager to talk to anyone that wants to hear about, like, maybe not hear about, anyone who wants to talk about the wonders that like Opera has to offer. I know they might be mundane to a lot of the nobles here, But if you're willing to, if
I
you're
mean,
willing
yeah,
to,
like that.
sorry,
Yeah, like Davluk comes from a place where the average castle is a spooky fortress with giant bats hanging off the roof. So a place this clean is also fascinating to him.
that's perfect. The fact that it's a genuine interest makes this a little bit different than a lot of the other stuff we're dealing with today. Like this represents a perfect opportunity for both of you to share this mutually expressed interest at the wonders of the city that you're in right now, and that's something he's definitely willing to bite on. If you want, you can influence this man. There is no discovery for him.
Yeah, what would I roll for influence?
You can do the check before that if you want to find the deals. I almost said DLCs. If you want to find the DCs out, if you want to figure out how much you have to pay to influence this man,
DLC influence checks.
If you want to figure out what the DCs for the influence checks are, you can, give me a check. It would be knowledge local or sense motive. Would you like to do one of those? Okay. I'm not going to tell you what the DC is. But before I provide the skill rolls, there's kind of this weird thing that might be specific to Davluk that's going to be able to happen. I'm not going to need you to roll a skill check, because it sounds like you're both genuinely interested in the town. And I assume that you are genuinely interested in, like some combination of like his family history, and like his talent and whatnot, since most people are, and he's kind of the centerpiece. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah,
Okay.
like he's from Spooky Town, so nice, clean, sunny places, quite interesting.
Yeah. There's this back and forth conversation that you can have with him, and if you want to be in character, I'm 100% okay with that.
Uh, like from where from where I'm from, other cities ever get this big, and usually at this time of night you'd be hearing the wolves in the wind, and quite a nice change of pace from a place where you have to bar your doors with holy symbols if you don't want the dead to crawl inside. And he offers.
That sounds like a very spooky place. I've never been anywhere like that. There's I'm sorry, a degree of intrigue that I feel like I should express at a land such as that, but at the same time, I feel that a lighter subject might be something more
Yeah, like it's not
appropriate.
Yeah, like the force here are lovely. Like, and when I was young, I was just always told never to go into the woods. But the first thing I did when I came into the country was just have a walk in the park without any fear. And that's very like people are quite lucky to have a place this nice, especially a capital where the streets are clean and the water's usually fresh.
There's a beauty that the untamed portion of our lands can definitely claim, something I've been able to experience the vast majority of my life, thanks to my family. But I can't help but agree with you. Sights you can see, the sheer size of a city such as Opera.
Mm,
It's
right. Yeah. You were going to finish something?
you see him put his hand up to his chest as he kind of looks down. You can see he's kind of having a hard time pulling anything out of his throat at this point.
What? Well, if you want my opinion, I I think it's important that people like you are elevated to nobility, lest the people here in the city forget about the people who live out there in the countryside and provide the food that basically underpins all of society. He said, as encouragingly.
He
Right.
looks
A lot
up
of-
at you as you're talking, and you can see what was holding him back for a moment. You can see some tears formulating in his eyes. They haven't spilled over yet, but you see him try and wipe one off of his right eyelid. It falls off to the side. Says, "Can't tell you how. I can't tell you how honored I am that my ma'am and my papa would put so much aside so that I would have the opportunity to learn my craft and share my works with fine people such as all of you."
I think the house you will form will be an illustrious one. Um, I suppose that also brings up the question of marriage. It's I'm sure your mother's often like badgered you about finding the right girl like mine has. He says it a bit jokingly, but he is serious about how his mom has like pestered him to get hitched.
This is good. You actually see him like pick up on that. This is a piece that he can properly relate to on like a personal level. He says,
Yeah.
He smiles a little bit wider at that, though. You notice he's keeping his lips touching each other. He's not showing any of his teeth. And he says, "That was a conversation I've honestly had more times than I'd like with my ma'am. She, I apologize. She brought it up, but not as much as any others would. There was a distinct focus on the apprenticeship, something that, as a child, I found a lot harder to appreciate. But nowadays, I'm starting to realize so much that they did for me. And maybe even scarier to think about is I might actually have to start thinking about a wife. How does I I don't even know where to begin." And you see him
This poor
his
man.
hand moves very quickly, and he starts slicking his hair back, but it keeps falling down. This happens like 3 or 4 times.
Davlok pauses one moment and reaches into his belt and offers him one of his spare combs, and says, "You're probably better served using these in your hands." He says, like for him, it's not like the most expensive cone in the world, but it would be worth at least like I'd say like 5 silver.
He give me a sense motive check if you got it. I mean, I know you do, but let's just have it.
Good old untrained sense motive.
Okay. Consistency, I appreciate it. You see him like there's this degree of general appreciation that is a little overwhelming, and you can see that that's coming over him, but he's trying to suppress it as he maybe a little bit too quickly reaches out for the comb. He just says, "Thank you, Mr. Sorry, Lord Baron."
You You can just call me Kybrecht. It's usually what strangers call me. But hopefully one day we'll be on good enough terms to just call me Davluk.
But if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to show my big city friend off. I have a few others that I think might be interested in meeting. I'm sorry. Meeting someone like you.
Oh, I'd be delighted. He offers with a small bow. After all, Mother does expect me to give her good news sooner than later.
Okay. If you're going to stay with Calbio, he's actually going to take you to a different location on the next social round.
Okay.
Okay. He is going, and I'll let you know since we're at the very end of the round. He's going to take you back to the gardens, and he's going to go introduce you to Princess Entropia.
Okay.
Good stuff.
After he introduces you in kind of, as you've maybe picked up from him, somewhat like abnormally formal, more in like a kind of an overbearing way, like he's being more formal than he should be, but it's coming out of a place of like ignorance, like he's not used to the environment you're in, and he's trying to make up for it. He's gonna try and introduce you to Baron Okira, which like you guys just got done talking like 10 minutes ago. And then I assume there's some kind of like there's some point there where Calbio like feels kind of awkward once he realizes what he's done, and he apologizes for like his lack of social awareness.
Yeah.
And then
like Davlik mostly just laughs it off since stuff like that happened a lot at the parties of his mother.
That's good. I think Baron Okira, he's not gonna laugh it off, but he dismisses it in an appropriate way, and you can tell it's because he doesn't really he doesn't much care for the social graces. He looks at them as more of a barrier to the actual meat and bones of what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So after that quick little mess up, at least when Calbio looks back at it, he's going to take you over to the courtyard, and during the next social round, he's going to introduce you to Princess Entropia. And I'm going to say that while Calbio is with you,